Flicker of a flame in a broken mind, and shadows crawling where the truth won't shine. Blood on the ink, silence in the screams. Welcome to the edge of your darkest dreams. Scrolling through the wreckage, faces on the screen. Another name, another ghost caught in between. Sirens in the distance, echoes in the night. The facts get buried where the fear ignites. We chase the story, truth or myth. A cigarette burns where justice sits. Headstones and headlines, digging through the dirt where the dead still cry. Whispers in the bylines, truth don't sleep and the lies don't die. In the chains, dust in the frame, a cold case heat with a soul to name. Steel in our voice, fire in the tone. We bring the buried stories home. Lights on the tape, blood on the wire. A cold world burns in a funeral fire. Headstones and headlines, digging through the dirt where the dead still cry. Whispers in the bylines, truth don't sleep and the lies don't die. Headstones and headlines, we speak the names they left behind. Can you hear 'em calling? Can you feel the silence crawl? We stand in the darkness and give a voice to them all. Headstones and headlines, digging through the dirt where the dead still cry. Whispers in the bylines, truth don't sleep and the lies don't die. Headstones and headlines, we speak the names they left behind. Wakes back the truth don't sleep and the lies don't die.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday and also happy summer break. It's so nice to not have to go to work for the next 8 weeks. It's definitely well deserved and much needed. We went in this morning, we had a meeting at 9 o'clock. Well, actually, it was a little bit before 9. And they said, you can leave as early as 9 o'clock. And then the vice principal was like, come on, guys, get out. I want to leave too. So we waited till 9 though, just because. But thanks everybody for being here. I did see, because I'm trying not to look, but I did see that in this case, they did get to closing arguments today. So I'm hoping that because I have tomorrow off, we can finish up. Well, we'll see how far we get today, because day 3 was 2 parts. So I do plan on going a little bit longer today to get through part 1 of day 3, which was only about 40 minutes. And then depending on how long today was, because I'm not sure if the jury might come back. I don't know. I'm guessing they don't want to, keep it till Monday. They want to get it done before the weekend, but you never know. But today's plan is to finish day 2, at least half of day 3. And then depending on timing, we may watch a little bit more of day 3. But tomorrow definitely we'll finish up day 3 and day 4. And then if there's a verdict tomorrow, then we'll just stay a little bit longer. But because I don't have to work tomorrow, I can stay, I can do a little bit more than my normal 2 hours. So thanks for being here, Nanny. I did see you here. Yes, school's out for summer. And for those of you who weren't here yesterday, I am getting my first set of fosters on Saturday. There are 6 kittens. They are 9 to 10 weeks old, 3 torties, and 3 all black who are males. So 3 girls, 3 boys. And they are they're the cutest things. And it's the best age to get them because they're just active and fun. They love to play. So I need to find some time tomorrow to get some things moved around so that they can hang out with me where I do my live streams, because I just want them around, my other cats, just to get used to them. Also, mommy cat got spayed yesterday. I have not seen her. She's still in hiding, but I would probably be too. So I'm glad she's just resting, and she won't be looking for boyfriends anymore. So that works out too. Pookie, thanks for being here. Queen Bella. They did. They followed all of his steps. And I believe today, I think part of day 2 was body cam footage. Maybe it was day 3. I can't remember. But I'm really interested to see the body cam footage they have of Chris after Barry went missing, because I really want to see what his demeanor was. Hey, Legally Blonde. I am live. Oh, and Queen Bella, I just saw your question about Mommy Kitty, so I answered it without even seeing your question. Yeah, it is so hot, and I've been putting fresh water out. Normally I don't put water out for the outside kitties, but because it's been so hot, I've been putting water out in the morning and then when I get home from work. And I do believe, because I think it's Nanny that's always asking about the outside kitty that was pregnant. I got a notification today from my Ring Cam that there was a vehicle in my driveway. So I look, there's no car. But what I did see was Mama Cat walking in front of on my lawn in the front. So I was thinking, I'm trying to think of the last time I mentioned Mommy Cat, because it's been a few weeks. So that tells me her babies are probably going to be starting to venture out wherever they might be. So I need to keep an eye out, because when I see them, I'm going to be trapping them. We did finally get some reprieve, though. It was 70 degrees today when I left work, so it's about 20 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, but it's still awfully muggy. Oh, that's terrible. Someone dumped 2 kittens off across from our house. We saw them do it on the Ring camera. Oh my God. Oh, and yesterday I had such a traumatic, so on my way, just real quick, and then we'll get into the trial. On my way to pick up Mommy Cat from her spay, I'm on the highway, and I see the car in front of me like hit the brakes and swerve. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? So then I look, there is a kitten in the road. I'm like, oh my God. So I slammed the brakes. Thankfully, where I was at, there was a center median with the caution lines. So I swerve into that lane to not hit the kitten. And I'm like, oh my God. Thank God, or the universe. The kitten turned around as I swerved and ran into the grass. So the kitten didn't get hurt, but it was awful. So of course, once it was safe, I then drove across the highway to the shoulder, got out, and I was like, Kitty, are you there? No Kitty. But oh my God, it was terrible. It was a one-way street. And well, thanks for being here. It was awful. But thankfully, as you know, Pookie had told me yesterday, I had to tell somebody. She's like, at least the kitty's safe. I'm like, that is a very good point. The kitty is safe. But man, it was terrible. It was terrible. All right, so let me get to the screen. We're going to start. I do have it on 1 1/4 speed again. So we're going to finish up day 2, start day 3, and then we'll see if we have a little more time. If we're feeling it, we'll go into part 2 of day 3, but if not, we'll finish it tomorrow. Oh, how cute. Little midget cat, little legs. So sweet. All right, here we go.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
So the last time you were on the stand, we ended up with the fact that your investigation went up to that point till the 20th, correct?
Yes.
So when did your investigation pick back up?
July 21st is the next day in the timeline.
And can you walk the jury through what the first thing was that you found out on the 21st?
Through interviews and witnesses, we were able to determine that there was some kind of commotion outside the residence around 4 a.m. Someone heard some noises.
And that was through Brian Jobe?
Yes.
And Mr. Jobe lives at the residence?
Yes.
Okay. And at another point, did you end up following the defendant to where you see him on a surveillance video of some sort?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a gas station.
Approximately 5:30 in the morning?
Yes.
And on that particular gas station, do you actually have the video from that, or is it just photographs?
I believe it was just photographs taken from the videos.
Do you remember seeing the defendant wearing the iWatch in those photographs?
I believe so. Yes.
And that particular gas station's the Daybreak gas station in Cape Coral?
Yes.
Located in Lee County, Florida?
Yes.
Did you end up finding out if the defendant went back to Starbucks on the morning of the 21st?
Yes.
And did he use the Discover card once again?
Yes. With the Apple Pay. Yeah.
Well, it's the Discover card from...
It's the Discover card on that boat. Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
so it's the Blackhawks card.
Yes.
That's what I say. And were you able to ascertain that he did more searches for Airbnbs?
Yes.
And so what is the next step that you took with regards to the investigation that led you to a Walmart?
Going through the more searches and stuff on the phone and records, we were able to determine that had gone to the same Walmart that he'd been to on the 19th.
That Walmart's located in Lee County, Florida?
Yes, 1619 Del Prado Boulevard.
And was there a credit card used at that Walmart?
Yes,
And it was, again, the Discover card?
that was the first one. Yes, I believe so.
Yes, and that is the Discover card, which is the Blackhawks card, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, permission to republish State's Exhibit 22. So we see Walmart on the 21st for
Yes.
$30.73.
Yes.
Okay. And then we see the Starbucks we just talked about for $6.59 on the same date.
Yes.
Okay, 30. 130. Your Honor, may the record reflect that I'm now showing opposing counsel has been previously marked for identification purposes as states 30, 31A, 31. Approach the witness.
You may.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that I'm now showing the witness has been marked previously for identification purposes as states 30, 31, and 31A. I'm going to ask you first about 30. What is 30?
30 is a surveillance video from Walmart. Looks like the parking lot.
And what is 31A?
This is surveillance from Walmart inside the purchases and going to the ATM inside.
And 31?
It's a copy of a ATM transaction.
And that's from inside the Walmart as well?
Yes.
Your Honor, this kind of state would admit 30, 31, and 31A into evidence.
Objections? You did.
Your Honor, with regards to states 30, and 31. They were previously identified as being the defendant, Christopher Davis, by the Miguel Blanco on day 1 of the trial. Permission to publish State's Exhibit 30.
You may.
I'm going to stop it for a moment at the very beginning of State's 30. So you said this is a video view of the parking lot.
Yes,
What, if anything, should the jury be looking for with regards to this video?
this is the vehicle, or the person getting out of the vehicle and walking inside.
And do you see a Barry in any of these videos?
No.
Maybe you can play. Now, this individual, this is the person that the jury should be watching.
Yes,
And do you know where this person parked their car?
towards the back of that row there.
Okay, so once again, just like in the Home Depot video, if they were parking towards the back, even though there might have been spaces
Yes.
that were open previously. Okay, you playing? Sorry, Lowe's, I apologize. Permission to publish 31A.
You may.
Now, what individual should the jury be watching, if anyone?
With the cart.
So the individual wearing the black hat, it looks like black or dark gray?
Yes.
Awesome. For 1 second. What is that individual walking up to at that point?
An ATM.
And I'm just going to ask because I know opposing counsel will. With regards to the date at the top left, it says August 4th. Is that the date of this particular video?
No, that's the date that we obtained the video.
Okay, and the date of the particular video that's being captured within is on what date?
July 21st, I believe it is.
Okay, so we see the individual walk up to an ATM machine. That's the same thing. You put a card in and it brings you cash out?
Yes.
Okay, continue, fine. Permission to publish dates 31.
All right.
So I'm now showing you what's been already moved into evidence as dates 31. Do you recognize this?
Yes, that's an ATM receipt.
And is that the ATM receipt for the ATM that is the Walmart that we just watched the video of?
I take that back. That is not an ATM receipt. That is a receipt of Chris loading up his one of his debit cards at the counter.
And that was loaded from the ATM machine?
That was loaded from cash taken out of the ATM machine.
You may have one moment.
I'm sorry, what number was that?
That is number 31.
Okay, thank you.
And that shows it on July 21st at 7:26 a.m. Is that
Correct.
accurate?
This was the second time that he was in there that morning.
Now, in the particular video that we just watched, does Mr. Davis purchase anything while he's there?
Yes.
What does he purchase?
A long sleeve T-shirt, Chemical Guys air freshener, and I want to say 2 Yankee Candle air fresheners that you'd hang from like rearview mirrors. And
So
the
air
chemical,
fresheners?
yes, yeah, and the Chemical Guy is a spray.
What is that air freshener for? You said the rear view mirrors of like a car?
Yes. The little candles, the Yankee Candle ones where they got the string on them and you hang them from your rearview mirror.
And the chemical spray, what is that used for?
That's an air freshener for the car.
So we see that he pulls cash out from that ATM.
Yes.
And then with regards to the ATM that he's pulling money out, does he end up pulling money out using a Capital One card?
Yes, he does.
And that Capital One card is a card that is under whose name?
Very small block.
And was that Capital One card found at some point?
Yes.
And whose wallet was it found in?
Christopher Davis.
Your Honor, may the record reflect I'm now showing opposing counsel what's the previously United States proposed exhibit 35.
May.
May the record reflect that I'm now showing the witness was previously marked for identification purposes the state's proposed exhibit 35. That is what document?
This is a Capital One Spark business receipt or account.
And that account relates to the money that was pulled out of the ATM?
Yes.
And with regards to that particular account, it ends in 5270, which correlates to one of Barry's cards.
Correct.
And that card is actually listed to being toward Barry, and Christopher's name is nowhere on it. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to evidence states 35.
Any objections?
No.
David.
Permission to publish?
May.
This is states 35. And we see the owner of the account is that Barry Schmalbach.
Yes.
And we see the last 4 digits, the 5720.
Correct.
And then we see the transaction date of pulling money, correct?
Correct.
And that correlates to the same money that was pulled out of the ATM by Christopher.
Correct.
So what occurs after he goes to Walmart?
An Airbnb is booked out in Clewiston, Montura.
Okay. And can you describe Montura to the jury?
It's agricultural, wide open. If you've been in Lee County long, I kind of equate it to, I grew up in Cape Coral. I've been here about 43 years. North Pine Island Road, when I first moved here, there was nothing there. It was wide open, empty houses, maybe one a block, maybe if that, but a lot more agriculture, cane fields, that kind of stuff.
And Montura is in Clewiston, which is located in Hendry County.
Yes.
How far is the Airbnb, which he ends up renting at 160 Bald Cypress, from Cape Coral? Is it a short drive?
No, it's probably close to 50, 35, anywhere between 35 and 50 miles. I'd have to actually look at it on the map, but it's a good hour drive at least.
At
Probably
least.
longer, at least an hour.
And are you also familiar with the 1000 block of West Sugarland Road in Clewiston?
Yes.
Is that near the Airbnb?
It's probably 5-6 miles.
So it's not next door by any means?
No.
And are you able to track the movements that he made from the Walmart in Cape Coral to Clewiston that day?
Yes.
And were you able to ascertain what time the defendant got to Clewiston?
I want to say it was sometime around 10, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later.
And what, if anything, occurs when he gets to Clewiston?
He's on Sugarland, checks into the Airbnb, goes to a couple stores, goes to a bank.
And I just want to pause it really quick because they're talking about these addresses. So yesterday they had talked about, well, what we watched yesterday, they had talked about an Airbnb that Christopher had gone to that was about 5 minutes from Barry's apartment. So I just looked up the distance from Barry's apartment to where he booked the next B&B, just so that we can see how far. It's about an hour and, unless I have the address wrong. I thought the detective said it was like 6 miles, but this is 67 miles. Montura, that's what he said. So yeah, so an hour and a half, Christopher booked an Airbnb out here, which you can see is definitely agricultural, not a lot going on. I don't really see any bodies of water around. But there is looks like a mountains or something there. So that's very interesting to me. So I just wanted to stop quick to show y'all that. So Nanny, let me see, I wrote it down. They met during a Cinco de Mayo party in 2023. Barry went missing on July 19th, 2023. So not even 2 months they had known each other. And Chris had apparently moved in. My opinion is that Chris saw money, but that's, just my thoughts. So not very long. All right, let me get back over here. So I just wanted to show the map because when I saw the distance, I was like, okay, that's definitely suspicious.
And when you say he goes to a bank, that bank's in Clewiston?
Yes.
And with regards to that bank, is it a bank that Barry had a credit card for?
I don't believe so, no.
Is it a bank where Capital One credit card is used?
Yes.
And with regards to that particular bank, were you able to view any videos while in it?
Yes.
And does the video show an individual who Miguel Blanco, for the record, identified as Christopher Davis on the video, making any sort of withdrawal or purchases?
Makes withdrawals.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the now showing opposing counsel has been previously marked for identification purposes, State's Exhibit 34. May I approach the witness?
You may.
May the record reflect that I'm now showing the witness with marked for identification purposes, as State's proposed Exhibit 34. Is that the video from the Sea Coast Bank?
Yes.
And that's located in Clewiston?
Yes.
And this is associated with the Capital One card?
Yes.
Your Honor, permission to move into evidence, permission to move into evidence, State's Exhibit 34.
All right, any objection? No. You may.
Permission to publish?
You may.
And while we're getting this video queued up, you end up seeing him withdrawing money in this video?
Yes.
And do you remember how much he withdrew?
I believe it was 180.
And is there anything you see Christopher wearing in this particular video?
The same clothes that he was wearing at the Walmart in Cape Coral and what appears to be an Apple iWatch.
We can get the lights again real quick. So this particular angle, where's this camera at?
That's the camera on the ATM machine itself.
So it's actually capturing the person that's punching in the numbers.
Yes, as they're making the transaction.
You can continue. Now, the card that he was just putting in his wallet, and for the record, that is at a minute and 22 seconds. Whose card is that?
That's the Capital One Spark card
Okay, and that card was found where?
in Chris's wallet.
And Chris's name is not on that card, correct?
No.
Your Honor, permission to republish States Exhibit 35.
All right. You need the lights back on?
Yes, please. Okay. So, with regards to line item 2, Seacoast National Bank, Clewiston, Florida, July 21st for $183.50. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And the $350 a service charge?
That's the transaction fee.
So he pulled out $180 using Barry's card.
Correct.
Now, when you were going through the phone records of the defendant, which for the record is States Exhibit 56, did you ever see a time where the defendant's phone called a Capital One
Twice.
twice? And do you remember what days they called on?
Would have been July 20th and it would have been July 21st.
And the number would be on the back of the card, correct?
Yes.
Did Barry's phone call Capital One at all during that time period?
No, it did not.
When was the last time Barry's phone actually called anyone?
Oh, the last activity on his phone was about 8:30 on the 19th. PM.
So, publishing page 6 of States 56. Okay. So I am showing you page 6, which is going to have, you said he called twice? So we see the same number twice at line 125 as well as line 133.
Correct.
So those are the two calls that were made to Capital One.
Correct.
And this is on whose phone?
That's the Chris's phone.
And that was Chris that was using the Capital One card as well.
Correct.
Now, after Chris withdraws money using Barry's credit card, what does he do next?
We were able to determine he went to a Ace hardware store in the area.
What is Ace Hardware?
It's a hardware store you can pick up.
Is it a national hardware brand?
Yes, it is.
Are you familiar if there's an Ace Hardwares in Lee County before you get to Hendry County?
There's one in Cape Coral on Cape Coral Parkway.
Okay,
Very
there's
close,
also,
very close to Starbucks.
is there also one on State Road 80 in the Buckingham Alva area?
I believe so, yeah.
And then there's the one in Clewiston.
Correct.
Okay. So it's not like just a run of the mill
No.
mom and pop store. Okay. Now, with regards to him going to Ace Hardware, were you able to ascertain a video with regards to his shopping endeavors there?
Yes.
And what, if anything, do you see in that particular incident?
He buys a shovel and a pickaxe.
And he lives on the 3rd floor of a condo building, correct?
Correct.
And this is after he's already purchased a tarp as well as duct tape?
Yes.
Your Honor, may the record reflect I'm now showing opposing counsel with market identification purposes, States Exhibit 37, 36A, 36B, 36C, 36D, as well as 37A.
All right. You said 37, 36A, B, C, and D, and
36A, B, C, and D, Your Honor. And then there's just obviously 36 as well. So there's 5 total there.
36.
And then 37 and 37A.
Thank you.
Permission to approach the witness.
May.
Detective Aaron, I'm now showing you as a previously marked for identification purposes to states 36, 36A through D, as well as 37 and 37A. We don't need a moment to review.
Yes.
And are these fair and accurate depictions of Mr. Davis inside of Ace Hardwell in Clewiston on the 21st of July, 2023?
36 and 36 AR, yes.
Okay, and what are 30?
Connection to the detective identifying, making an identification of the defendant.
Your Honor, Miguel Blanco is already identified.
She stated that, so I will rule the objection.
And with regards to 36B and C, as well as D, what are those photos of?
These are photos. I actually took these photos. These are photos of the models that were purchased.
And
So the
how-
same models.
How were you able to determine what models were purchased?
We got a copy of the receipt of the transaction and then matched up the model number to the items on the shelf.
And 37A is the receipt,
Correct.
and then 37 is a video of the incident, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, permission to move into evidence 36A through D, 37A, 37.
So it makes it 36 and then 36A through D and what up?
37 and 37A.
Okay, any objections? Be admitted.
So I'm going to start with 37. So 37A is a receipt. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And it shows the day, which is the 21st,
Yes.
the time, which is 10:43 a.m.,
Yes.
as well as Brenda B. Is that the cashier?
Correct.
It also shows two different items. Were those the items that you were able to take photographs of?
Yes.
And what is the first item?
It's the pickaxe, the Maddox pick.
Okay. So permission to publish 36D.
Yep.
Is this the pickaxe that correlates to?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the exact same pickaxe that Mr. Davis purchased.
Yes.
And then we see a second item. What is the second item?
It's a shovel.
And you took photographs of the shovel as well based on the SKU number?
Yes.
And for the record, 36B, what is 36B of?
That is the front of the shovel.
Now, this isn't the actual shovel
No.
that Christopher bought, correct?
No, this is a one of the same model that was purchased.
And the pickaxe was also one of the same models?
Correct.
Did you also take a back of the shovel too?
Yes.
And for the record, 36C, and that's the back of the shovel?
Yes.
What is the shovel made out of?
Steel.
And pickaxe is made out of?
Steel.
So it's not some kid's toy that they would go to play in the sandbox with?
No.
And with regards to the receipt, how does Mr. Davis pay?
Cash.
And the total cash amount was $81.68?
Yes. Paid with $82.
And again, this is at 10:43 a.m.
Correct.
And now I'm going to publish 36 and 36A to 36. What is this a photograph of?
Male walking up to the cash register.
And that's the same male that is seen in the prior video at Seacoast Bank.
Yes.
And that's the same male that was also seen in the prior video from Walmart in Cape Coral.
Yes.
Is he wearing the same clothes in all three videos?
Yes.
And this is an overview of the register area.
Yes.
And this is the individual you're talking about right here.
Yes.
Now 36A. Same question, same individual.
Yes. At the register.
And he pays in cash this time?
Yes.
Okay. And what did he end up purchasing again?
The Maddox or the pickaxe, the Maddox, and the shovel.
Permission to publish states 37.
Yeah.
May we have the lights as well, please? Now, permission to move freely about the courtroom.
May.
We stopped this at 14 seconds. Is there somewhere in particular the jury should be watching on this video?
On the far side of that aisle, where the glass is, right down, right there.
Okay, so this is the individual that purchased the items?
Yes.
Okay. And the lady in the pink, is that the cashier or employee from Ace?
Yes.
You got permission to stop the video at this point?
Mhm.
And for the record, it stopped at 1:47. Were you able to tell how this individual in the video as well as photographs got to Ace Hardware?
Yes.
And how were you able to tell that?
Outside surveillance.
And how did that person get there?
It was very cheap.
Have you used that type of shovel before?
Have I used that particular model? No. Have I used a shovel that heavy before? Yes.
And what would you need to have a shovel that heavy for?
Dig.
Speculation.
Here, I can rephrase.
All right, I'll sustain this one. Go ahead.
What have you personally used that heavy of a shovel with before?
Digging.
Digging? Did you dig in small planters with that type of shovel?
No, that was heavy digging when I was, or like when I was in the military.
And when you were in the military, you were digging.
Foxholes, all kinds of different pits, fighting pits, stuff like that.
So that would be excessive for a potted plant.
Yes.
And have you used a pickaxe before?
Yes, I have.
Have you used a pickaxe of the same brand,
The same brand, no.
of the same weight?
I don't know if it was the same weight, same general build type,
What
a
do you
heavy
use
pickaxe.
What do you use a pickaxe for?
Object to speculation.
What have you, Your
Who
Honor?
rules speculation?
What have you used a pickaxe for?
I've used it to break up heavy ground, stuff that's hard, rocks, that kind of stuff. But stuff that you can't get out with a shovel, you use that to break it up, get it soft, and then use the shovel.
And did the defendant pull up and also was inside of Ace Hardware by himself?
Yes.
Was it Barry with him anywhere?
No.
But it was Barry's Jeep?
Yes.
What, if anything, occurred next?
There's a period not long after that where everything just kind of stops. We don't pick him up again for a few hours.
And when you say everything kind of stops, that's as he's driving to the Airbnb?
Yes.
And how long does it stop for?
I want to say it's about 3 hours, maybe a little longer.
And during that time period, you said there's nothing. So what
Correct.
does that mean?
That it's like the phone was turned off. The stuff that we were able to digitally track was just gone. There was no trace on any of it.
Were there any phone calls made by the defendant out during that time period?
No.
Any text messages?
No.
Any type of data usage at all?
No.
And when his phone came back on, it was about 3 hours later?
Yes.
And was it the same location where it went off at?
I want to believe it was around Sugarland Avenue. If I'm
And the Airbnb is not on Sugarland Avenue.
no, it is not.
So it'd be closer to the 1000 block of Sugarland?
Correct.
And you said that's 5 to 6 miles away
Yes.
from the Airbnb, excuse me. Where did your investigation lead now?
There was video purchase at the Walmart in Clewiston, which is on Sugarland.
And with the Walmart in Clewiston, do you remember what he purchased again?
Oh, I want to say there was some beauty aids, like a facial cleanse type thing, some stuff like that, and a package of hot dogs.
Did he buy any clothing?
I don't believe so. No.
Is he wearing different clothing in these
Yes.
videos? Your Honor, may the record reflect that I am now showing opposing counsel as the previously modified application purposes of state's proposed exhibit 38, 38A, and 38B. May I approach, Your Honor?
May.
May the record reflect that I'm now showing the witness with the previously marked for identification purposes of states 38, 38A, and 38B. And for the record, Your Honor, 38 has already been identified by Miguel Blanco as that being the defendant in the video.
These are K-Core Walmart.
So with regards to 38A and 38B, what are those photographs of?
Those are of the K-Core Walmart.
And 38A is what video?
38 is, this is the video from Walmart in Clewiston.
Your Honor, permission to move into evidence 38, 38A, and 38B.
All right, any objections?
I can just proffer it. So it's 38A and B from 38, or it's from somewhere totally different?
Those are from somewhere different.
Different date and time?
No, same date. Different time. Those are from the early morning hours at the Walmart in Cape Coral, the photos.
Still shots?
Yes,
From an earlier video we saw?
yes.
Okay, no objection.
All right, be a minute.
And I'm going to publish 38A first.
All right.
So this is Christopher Davis in the morning at Walmart in Cape Coral.
Yes, walking into the Walmart when he was using the ATM machine, making the purchases of the filter, the air fresheners and stuff.
Okay. And then we see the same outfit at the Seacoast Bank in Clewiston.
Correct,
And then we see the same outfit again at the Ace Hardware, correct?
correct.
Here's another view. Is that the same outfit as we just discussed in all three of those locations?
Yes, that's the inside of Walmart.
And Your Honor, for the
In Cape
record,
Coral.
that's 38B. Permission to publish 38.
Okay.
And then now the video that we're publishing, that's from later, correct?
Yes,
And where is this video from?
the video that you are about to show is from the Walmart in Clewiston on Sugarland. And that's in the afternoon. I want to say it's sometime around 4, a little after 4.
So this is after there's been dead air basically
Yes,
for
Yep.
3 hours. Now, before we begin playing this, I see a timestamp on the upper left corner that says Monday, July 31st, 2023. Is that the date of the actual date in the video?
that is the date that we collected the video.
What is the date from the actual date in the video?
It was July 21st.
And is there a certain person we should be looking for when they're walking in?
Yes, white male, no hat, tank top. I can't remember the color, different color outfit. More pastel colors, I believe.
Awesome.
Yep.
So that particular individual, that's a different outfit than earlier in that day.
Yes,
And for the record, Your Honor, this video was identified by Miguel Blanco as being one of the defendants. And what, if anything, occurred next during your investigation on the 21st?
we were able to go to, there was a Ring camera video of a next door neighbor.
I'm going to stop you there for a second. With regards to Clewiston,
Yes,
were you able to track to see if anything occurred on Mr. Davis's phone from about 6 p.m. excuse me, until about 11 a.m. on the 22nd?
it was pretty much dead. There was no usage as far, no phone calls, no text messages.
But there was data usage.
Yes.
Though. And do you remember what the data usage was for?
Lots of different searches. I believe there was some weather searches, some adult sites, stuff like that.
Were you made aware of anyone that went to the residence on the evening of the 21st in Cape Coral?
Yes,
And who was that?
Miguel Blanco.
And he actually went to Barry's address that night?
Yes,
And this is when the defendant was in Clewiston?
yes.
Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yes.
No further questions at this time.
First thing talked about just this time, you mentioned the gas station, the daybreak.
Yes.
All right, and then there was actual video that you obtained from there?
I believe they took stills of the video. I don't think they were able to actually download the video. The detective who was actually took photos, still photos off the screen.
Okay. All right, you collected those photos?
Yes, those photos were collected, yes.
All right, and then going to the Ace Hardware, if you remember the receipt, it says the word Maddox.
Yes.
In your investigation, did you determine the difference between a pickaxe and a Maddox or Maddox pickaxe?
They're pretty much the same thing.
Does the Maddox, it has the flat side on it
Yes,
as opposed to just a double-sided, like,
yes,
just straight pick?
correct.
Okay. And I don't know if you've noticed on the receipt where it indicated the Maddox was a fiberglass handle.
Okay.
So it wasn't entirely made out of steel.
Entirely made out of steel, no.
So that fiberglass would, assume it would make it lighter.
Yes,
Section call.
Ooh.
All right. And so as far as cell phones go, you like any cell phone, you agree they have to be plugged in to be charged
yes.
at some point.
To charge them up, yes.
Yeah. And if they're not, and the battery goes out, the phone's not going to collect any data.
Okay, yes. It's not going to make any calls or anything like that. Yes.
Right. So if you then went back and checked to see what happened during a period when the battery had gone out, you're not going to find anything.
Correct.
And also, we talked about the Cape, well, the Walmart, the two Walmarts. The one at Cape Coral, you indicated the Yankee Candle, the air freshener, but there was also a T-shirt bulb, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll leave it at that. All right, thank you.
Anything else right now?
No, Your Honor, permission to recall at a later
All
date.
right, you can step down for now. All right, state and call your next witness.
Yes, sir. State we call Mr. Brian Job.
Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You can take the stand.
Just want your step.
You may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you. Sir, would you please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury by telling them your name?
I'm Brian Job.
And Mr. Job, where do you reside? Very early in the morning, say around 4 o'clock or so. Could you tell us a little bit about what was going on at that time with you specifically?
Well, it's not uncommon for me to be awake at 4 o'clock in the morning. I heard some noise, and it concerned me because they were doing construction downstairs on a couple of condos that were still damaged from Ian. So my first thought was that, did we lock the condos up downstairs? So I got up, and as I got up and went out of the bedroom, I heard plastic. Then I got concerned thinking, well, surely the drywallers and the painters aren't here at this time of morning. So I went to the front door, opened it up just a little bit, maybe 10 inches. And I heard the plastic. And then within just a few seconds, I saw the person dragging something back into the, where I could see like the back half of them. They were bent over, dragging something, and then I could spot them, their back end.
Now, you said a lot there, so let me see if I can understand that correctly. You indicated that it would be odd for you to be awake at that particular hour, or not odd for you to be awake.
Not odd. I mean, my average hours are, I wake up between 4 and 6 almost every morning. And for most of my life, I worked an early shift. So I guess my clock, kind of stayed that way where I get up early. I go to bed early, so I'm up early.
Have you always had trouble sleeping, sir?
Yes,
And on this particular day, you also had some trouble sleeping.
correct.
You indicated that you heard some plastic, some heavy plastic being dropped. Can you describe that sound for us a little bit?
Well, it's heavy plastic, heavy tarp. I think most people probably understand what heavy plastic sounds like if it's being drug. If you ever used a drop cloth or used any heavy plastic or tarps.
And you indicated that was being drugged.
That's what it sounded like.
And where did you see, when you looked out your door,
Mhm.
did you actually see the individual when that particular sound was occurring?
I heard the sound. I went to the door. When I looked out, I could still hear the sound. But then just within a few seconds, this individual appeared, but I only got to see the backside of him.
And are you familiar with the gentleman by the name of Christopher Davis?
I am.
And how are you familiar with Mr. Davis?
I know he was a roommate of Barry's. I met him when he moved in, and he came to the pool occasionally. If we went on a boat, some of the neighbors have boats. I think Chris and Barry went a couple of times, and mainly hanging out at the pool.
So you've interacted with Mr. Davis on multiple occasions. Is that fair?
We were in the company together.
So you had an opportunity to see how he walks and how he talks.
Yes,
Do you see the individual that you know as Christopher Davis in the courtroom here today?
yes.
Would you please point him out and describe an article of clothing that he's wearing?
On the corner of the desk with a light blue shirt on.
Judge, let the record reflect this witness has also identified the defendant.
All right.
Now, Mr. Joe, when you looked out and you saw an individual pulling this heavy tarp or heavy plastic, were you able to make out who that particular individual was?
I wasn't able to make out exactly who he was now.
And did there come a point in time when you were able to discern who that individual was?
Yes, I mean, what I saw,
Object to non-responsive. You can answer yes or no to the question.
It's the same. You can ask another question.
What did you see, sir?
Well, I saw this individual and what he was wearing, and he fit the frame of Christopher Davis. And there was only 3 people in the entire building, 3 males that lived in the building at that time, myself, Chris, and Barry. So at 4:15, 4:30 in the morning, and this individual had on black, dark, like athletic shorts and a dark top. And Chris, for all the times I've been around Chris, he always had on athletic shorts, short shorts, and or a bathing suit. That was his attire.
So that which he was wearing that particular day matched what the person was wearing that was dragging that tarp.
Correct.
And what did you notice that person do when you peeked out your door?
They didn't do anything. The individual didn't see me. I sort of got frightened and I shut the door and locked it right away. And my mind was trying to process what I was thinking and what I saw. So at that point in time, I went over to the kitchen window and was just trying to see if I could see anything else. And I couldn't see down into the stairwell because it was all dark. There was no lights in the stairwell at that time.
Why weren't there any lights in the stairwell at that time?
Well, this individual must have,
Speculation.
It's the same to this point.
well, let me, go ahead.
We want to let him ask you a question.
Let me re-ask the question, sir. What prevented you from looking into the particular stairwell at that time?
Because there was no lights on.
And is that unusual that there not be any lights in the stairwell?
Yes, there's,
Okay. Are there lights in the stairwell?
yes.
What kind of lights are there in the stairwell?
These were, I took down all the exterior lights after the hurricane and we went and bought these, I call them construction lights that are temporary, just a hot and a cold, and you put the light bulb in and they hang there. So after I went to the window, couldn't see anything. It was a few minutes later, I heard a click or the door closed. So I went and looked, and this individual came up and turned the light on. So then the light comes on. And at that point, the individual came up and I could hear him go over top of me because my kitchen window is right there above the catwalk over to their place. And he was carrying a black tote with a yellow top, like you see at Sam's or Home Depot.
And did you see where that individual would go?
He went right into the unit 303.
In unit 303, once again, is that Mr. Schmalbach's residence?
Yes,
And were you able to discern whether or not that individual was one of the same individual that was going ahead and pulling that heavy tarp?
it was.
And did that individual, when you saw him once again with the black bin and the yellow top, were you able to discern by and through what you observed who that was?
Yes,
Who was that?
Christopher Davis.
And Judge, let the record reflect, I'm showing defense counsel some previously marked case exhibit number 25, 25A, and 25B. You should approach.
You may.
Mr. Joe, I'm handing you what's previously marked as case exhibit number 25, 25A, and 25B. I ask you to take a look at those items and see if you recognize those,
Yes, I do.
and how you recognize those.
This is a stairwell going up to this is the first set of steps that goes up to the landing that takes you up to the second and third floor.
Do those photographs fairly and accurately depict your condo and the landings and stairwell with regards to your lighting fixtures?
Yes.
Say what you say, exhibit number 25, 25A, and 25B. Independent.
Any objection?
No.
Be admitted.
Permission to motion?
You may.
Oh,
Mr. Joe, I'd like to direct your attention specifically to the screen once again. I'm showing you the previously admitted as case exhibit number 25. Is that the landing or the stairwell that you're referring to?
yes,
And those are the light fixtures that were that you just described for us today as just being a hot and cold?
right. It's like a pigtail type thing that just goes into the hot and cold and gives you temporary light until our lights arrived.
Okay, so basically what you've got there is basically a socket. Is that fair to say? And then you put
Yeah.
the light bulb into that socket?
Well, there's not really a socket. There's a hot and cold,
Okay.
wire. The pigtail thing comes with a socket.
Okay.
And then you just, put the hot and cold together, plug the light bulb in, you're good to go.
Okay, and then you put the light bulb in?
Correct.
Okay. And you're saying that light bulb had been unscrewed?
Yes, it was dark when I first looked down into the stairwell and couldn't see anything. And then some time went by and I heard the car door close chirp, and I got back to the window and looked, and then he was screwing the light bulb in.
Did you actually see the individual screwing it back in?
I did. Yeah, I saw the individual screwing it back in.
Directing your attention here to, excuse me, Stacy exhibit number 25A. Would that be a view down the catwalk there towards Mr. Schmalbach's residence, directly above your residence?
Yes. Not directly above my residence. Above and to the left.
To the left, great, thank you. And 25B. That's the unit in which Mr. Schmalbach resided, 303?
Correct.
And each of the units had those types of hot, cold with the light bulb hanging there without the fixtures, is that correct?
I can't say for certain that every one single unit had one. We bought a number of them, probably 25 of them, and placed them throughout the stairwells and certain apartments, units down by the pool, just so that there was enough light throughout that people could see.
And you did that on your own?
Yes. Well, I did it with a neighbor, help of a neighbor.
Now, after you saw this individual screw in the light bulb, you proceed up to Mr. Schmalbach's residence with those black containers. What did you do next?
Well, at that point in time, I was actually fixing a cup of coffee. And while I was fixing coffee, I heard the door close,
Which door, sir?
the unit 303.
And then what happened?
And then I went over to the window, kitchen window again. And by this time, I could hear him going across underneath my kitchen window. And he made his way down the stairs. And as I looked down through the window, I could tell that the individual was carrying what I thought at the time was 2 beach bags or beach chairs that go into the bags that go over your shoulder. I can't be certain if they were beach chairs, but he was carrying something over each shoulder with straps.
You couldn't make out exactly what it was, is that correct?
I couldn't.
Now, did that person ultimately wind up leaving the condo area?
Well, at that point in time, my initial thought of what was going on, and then when I saw what I thought were beach chairs, kind of eased my mind. And I kind of was just sort of like, oh, they're going to the beach or they're going away for the weekend. I think they had just several weeks earlier had been in Key West. So I thought, well, they're going somewhere. And it kind of eased my mind. I got my coffee and went on with my day.
Did you see Barry that morning, Mr.
No.
Schmalbach?
No,
Did you see him going up and down the stairwell?
no,
Did you see him unscrewing any of the light bulbs?
no.
Did you see Mr. Schmalbach going for a walk that morning?
Well, Jeff, he's asking answer. He didn't see him.
Oh,
Did you see Mr. Schmalbach go for a walk that morning?
No.
Were you aware of whether or not Mr. Schmalbach went for walks in the morning?
Yes. There were certain times I would take walks, and there's times that I would see Barry walking. Usually it was at 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe 5:30. It was early. Once in a while, we'd cross on Beach Parkway. He was heading out Beach Parkway for his long walk and trip to Starbucks.
And did he do that on a regular occasion?
He did it almost, as far as I know, he did it probably 5 days a week.
Now, did there ultimately come a point in time when a detective came down and had to sit down with you and showed you a particular photograph?
Yes,
And were you able to identify anyone in that particular photograph?
yes.
That's right. I'm from defense counsel, Chris Marcus, exhibit number 28.
all right.
Commissioner Proschutz?
You may.
Joe, I'm handing you some Cruz and Marcus, exhibit number 28. You recognize that?
I do.
How do you recognize that?
Well, it's Barry's Jeep, Grand Cherokee Jeep, and it's Christopher Davis standing there, and he's got the same clothes on that I saw earlier. Same person pulling the plastic, same person carrying the tub into the unit 303.
Does that photograph fairly and accurately depict Mr. Davis and the Jeep on the morning that you saw?
Yes.
Judge, state exhibit number 28 in evidence at this time.
Any objection?
No, not
Be admitted.
Commissioner Colby, Judge.
You may.
Now, Mr. Job, I noted that when you were looking at this particular photograph, that you pulled out a pair of glasses.
Yes.
Do you have any problems with your sight?
No, these are just cheaters that you buy at the drugstore.
So things that allow you to see things up close, is that
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, since July of 2023, have you seen Mr. Barry Schmalbach?
No, I haven't.
You heard from Mr. Schmalbach?
No, I haven't.
Have you spoken to Mr. Schmalbach at all?
No, I haven't.
Have you had any contact with Mr. Barry Schmalbach since July of 2023?
No, I haven't.
I have no further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right.
All right, you were on the board of directors there?
I was, yes.
Is that something you still do or not?
No, I'm not currently.
Okay, and so, and you mentioned changing the lights out. Was that part of your duties there, or is that something extra you did?
No, we just, another gentleman on the board, we would do things we could do around the complex to save money, to just help out and get things done.
All right, so approximately, when did you guys put those temporary lights there throughout the complex?
Exact date, I couldn't tell you the exact date that we put them up.
Month, year?
I would say they went up in June of 23.
All right, and then you mentioned you took medication to help you sleep.
Yes,
Kind of medication?
it's trazodone.
Okay, that, you still would have sleep trouble
Yes.
after taking the medicine?
Yeah, I take trazodone every evening.
Okay, that put you out at first and then you'd wake up early still? or-
Yeah, it helps me sleep for 6 hours or so, and then I get restless, and usually I'm up.
Okay, then you mentioned, would you say in general, back then, that 4 or 5 a.m. time, would you typically go for a walk or just occasionally?
Not just occasionally. I would go on, I take it up on spurts, and I maybe walk for a week or so and then get lazy, and that was it, and pick it up again, and, just off and on.
And sometimes would you come across Barry and Chris out that early morning hours walking?
I came across Barry a lot more than I did the two of them. There were several times that I did see on at like beach or at JC Park, and I'd see them, but I may be, quarter mile away from them.
Do you know what had led to Barry's doing these early morning long distance walks?
He had some health issues. I know he had some, I think it was some heart conditions. He was hospitalized, and when he got out, he took it serious to start exercising and get in better shape.
All right. And then you mentioned hearing the noise, the plastic noise, and the light in the stairwell was out. You don't know how it got off?
No, it was off when I looked down the very first time, and there was no lights on in the stairwell.
And the individual, you then later saw the individual turning it and fixing the light.
Just turn it
To
real
turn it
quick.
on.
Just turned it, came on,
Okay.
and up the stairs he went.
All right. And then let me get this right. You can't definitively say like that person is Chris, but you're saying based on the clothing and how the person walked, you believed it to be Chris?
Well, yeah, I mean, with being, like I said, with being 3 men in the building, and when I saw this individual and what they were wearing, it was typical of what Chris would wear, his attire. So I instantly thought, this is Chris.
All right. And then you said when you like came back in and shut your door, you were kind of scared? Or
Yeah,
frightened? You said frightened.
Yeah, I locked the door.
Okay. Now you didn't go and call the police or 911 or anything?
No, I didn't.
All right. And then your initial concern, I guess, in the first place when you heard noises was because you said you're on the board of directors and then the place under you was going to be painted or something?
Yeah, they were doing construction work, remodeling after the hurricane.
You thought to yourself, did I lock that door down there?
Yeah, the contractors had a key, but I thought it's strange that I was here in the plastic at 4 a.m. And that's why I went to the window the first time to look out to see if there was anybody taking anything out of the unit downstairs or any activity.
Like maybe you left it unlocked and some person's in there now?
Correct.
That was your concern? Okay. And then later you hear person, you said kind of go under you, and then you look out and you see them carrying what you believe to be your beach chairs. That kind of eased your mind?
Well, you have to remember that the stairwell and the window is only 18, 20 inches wide, and looking down in there, and just in a couple of seconds, yes, it appeared that he was carrying, what I thought were beach chairs.
Okay. And that put your mind at ease?
That put my mind at ease that what I thought earlier,
Okay. And then after that, you go on a trip to Orlando or Disney or something?
correct,
And then you're up there, what, a week?
a week.
And then at some point after you get back, that's when you talk to a detective or police or somebody?
Right, I met with Detective Bierman.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, and you ready, Rick?
Briefly, Judge. Medication that you utilize that helps you sleep, does that affect your vision at all?
No.
The individual that you saw carrying the black totes or the bins, if you will, that individual was one and the same that was dragging that heavy plastic.
Correct,
And that was one and the same person that was also turning on and off the light bulbs.
correct,
And that person's Christopher Davis?
correct.
No questions, Judge.
Just one question. He said, the person turning on and off the light. You said he turned the light on, right?
Turned the light on.
Never saw him turn it off.
I didn't see him turn it off.
But he just fixed it. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nothing further, Judge. Thank
All
you.
right, you can step down, sir.
You may be released, Judge.
Okay, any objection? After,
The testimony you give.
whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi.
Would you please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury by telling them your name?
Yes, Edward Palmer.
And sir, where do you reside?
Give it to the store manager to have the passcode and entrance to it.
Now, did there come a point in time when you were asked or tasked with meeting with a detective by the name of Jason Bensky about trying to obtain some video from that particular store for a July 21, 2023 incident?
Yes, he contacted me and said he had an incident, didn't know what it was, that he needed to see. And so I met him there because I was helping open another new store. And we were having trouble at the time to get into it. It took us three times before he could actually take care of it himself and do what he needed to see and do.
And did he ultimately wind up taking a series of photographs as best he could of whatever you had on your surveillance?
Yes, because I think he was using his phone, because we couldn't get a thumb drive to work on it.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right.
No questions.
You can step down, sir. Okay,
Thank you.
They would like to call Mr. Jason Bensky, Judge.
Oh.
Jason Bensky?
Okay. Face the clerk, raise your right hand, she'll swear you in.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. You can take the seat. And you may proceed whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Please introduce yourself to ladies and gentlemen of the jury by telling them your name.
My name is Detective Jason Vensky.
Sir, where do you work?
I work for the Cape Coral Police Department
And how long have you worked there?
since 2013.
And what do you do for the Cape Coral Police Department?
I am a detective in the Major Crimes Unit, specifically the Violent Crime Unit.
Now, I'd like to direct your attention back to an incident in July of 2023. Specifically, were you investigating an incident whereby you were tasked with trying to obtain video or photographs on for something that occurred on 21st of July of 2023?
Yes, sir.
Would you please describe for ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you were asked to do?
I assisted in the investigation in reference to a suspect who we had a whole bunch of information actually that came in. And so I was tasked with investigators found some trash at this residence. There was some plastic on the trash that basically described a hand truck, a Milwaukee hand truck. And so I was tasked with trying to find out who sold the Milwaukee hand truck. And I went to Lowe's in Cape Coral, one of the locations in Cape Coral. I found this specific model and brand, a Milwaukee hand truck that was sold there. And I went to make contact with a loss prevention agent and asked if they sold that specific truck and when.
Were you also thereafter, were you asked to go to a Daybreak gas station?
Yes, sir.
And would that have been located there at 4532 Del Prado Boulevard in Cape Coral?
Yes.
And what was the reason for you to go to that particular location?
Investigators found a credit card. I believe it was a 76 gas station. That's what the Daybreak is. There was a transaction for a specific date. And so I went to meet with the manager there and ask if I could get video footage from that day.
And how would you describe this particular gas station?
The gas station was located on Del Prado. You could easily make access to it from the west side and then exit again from the west side. Pumps were very close to the road.
Now, as far as the surveillance system goes in this particular gas station, did you become familiar with that?
I did, yes.
And was it as user-friendly as some of the newer gas stations?
It was not.
So as a result of it not being as user-friendly, were you then tasked with having to utilize your own phone in order to take photographs of what you were trying to capture from
Yes.
that particular system?
Yes.
Judge, let the record reflect I'm showing defense counsel some previously marked as exhibit number 29, 29A, and 29B. Commissioner Approach.
Amen.
Thank you, Betsy. I'm showing you some previously marked as exhibit number 29, 29A, and 29B. As you take a look at those items.
Okay.
You recognize those?
I do.
How do you recognize those?
Those were pictures that I took from the back of the 76, from the back office of the gas station there.
Do those photographs really inaccurately depict photographs that you took that depict the incident on the 21st of July, 2023?
Yes, I do.
Judge, I have mistakes number 29, 29A, and 29B.
All right. Any objections?
No.
You did.
Permission to publish.
You may.
Now, Detective Vensky, when we're looking at this particular photograph, what exactly are we looking at here?
This is a dark gray SUV parked on the outside pump closest to Del Prado. So if you were to make entry into this parking lot, it would be the very first pump you could gain access to.
Now, you indicated that you had gone to Lowe's and obtained a video from
Yes.
Lowe's. And were you able to actually review that particular video?
I did.
And did the person that you observed in the video that you had actually collected from Lowe's, is that similar to the individual that you see in this particular photograph? It's exhibit number 29.
The same, the person that was involved in the Lowe's video looks similar to this video or picture, yes.
It's exhibit number 29A. Is that another still shot or a side view of the same individual that we were just looking at? It's exhibit number 29,
Yes, it is.
just from a different angle.
Different angle.
And then when we're looking here at 29B, were you able to determine that that was one and the same vehicle that we had observed in 29A and 29? Is that the Jeep?
That looks like the same Jeep.
After you obtained these particular photographs, did you provide these to the case agent, Detective Bryce Behrman?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness, Judge.
Briefly, just curious, sometimes when you're obtaining a video like this and you can't get the hard drive or pull it off of there, how come you just don't make a video of the video, like, as opposed to the still shots?
So there, I did actually try to make a video, and for some reason that I don't know why it didn't save. So I had still shots and I had the video, but the video for some reason didn't save.
Okay. And then you had the still shots as backup,
Yes.
and those were just taken at different points as the video played on the station surveillance system? Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
There you are. Thank you. You may
All
be
right.
excused.
You may step down. Any objection to being released? All right, so you're released from your stand.
All right, so it looks like they're taking a break. So let me just skip forward. Oh. Oops.
You have
You may.
All right, here we go.
Please watch your step.
May I proceed?
You may.
Would you please state your name?
Roxana Hernandez.
And Ms. Hernandez, do you own an Airbnb in Clewiston?
Yes, I do.
And what exactly is an Airbnb?
It's a property that you have for rental in a day-to-day basis.
And how long have you been using that particular property as a rental?
Since 2021.
And what is the address of the property?
It's 160 Bald Cypress Avenue, Clewiston, Florida, 33440.
And can you describe the area that the Airbnb is in?
Yes, it's like a rural area. Like now it's getting developed, but there is the smallest lot that we have there is like an acre and a quarter, like this one.
And what is that area called?
It's Montura Ranch Estates.
Is the entire area developed?
No, there are a lot of vacant lots. This one, for example, it's a house that has the 1.25 acre. Next is an empty lot. To the other side, it's a house, a mobile home. But in the same street, you can have the mixture of a house and vacant lots still.
Can you describe for the jury what the vacant lots look like out there? Are they clear cut?
Not necessarily. Most of them are completely raw, so no one has ever touched it as yet. But some others, depending which, because it's like 4,000 lots in total in the area. So basically, it's now when it's getting a little bit developed.
So it's a very rural area with not a lot of homes in it.
Correct.
And the homes that are there are few and far between?
Yes.
Would you describe the lots in Montura Ranch as being, as you said, they were rural and it's kind of raw? Does that mean they're full of palmetto or berries, excuse me, they're full of briars, trees, vines, etc.?
Correct. That's exactly what I mean.
And with regards to the rental, do you live nearby the Airbnb rental?
Yes, my house is just in front of it.
And you've rented the property out multiple times?
Yes.
And you've rented out the property since this incident as well?
Yes.
And can you describe the property for the jury?
Yes, it is 1.25 of an acre. It is completely fenced. We have a mobile home installed there. It's a double wide mobile home, 2021 year from built on 2021. It has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and the property has a lot of trees. And as I mentioned, it's a fully fenced property.
And how do you describe the property on your Airbnb site?
What do you mean?
It's the perfect getaway for?
The city stress. That's basically a marketing that I have, that it's basically in the middle of the country, the goods, that you can leave the stress from the city. We're really close by from Fort Myers, but we're really close from Miami, Fort Lauderdale as well. So a lot of the clients come from there to have a relaxed time over the weekend or during the week as well.
So you're explaining that this is not in the middle of the city. It's a very...
No. It's a completely rural area, yes.
And with Airbnb, if somebody is going to book it or rent it, could you walk us through the process?
Yes, this is an app that we use. As a host, we just create a listing. We describe the property, describe everything that is in the property and around. And the booker make the reservation through this platform using the app. They should have been qualified and verified by Airbnb before they even can contact me with a request of a reservation. So the customer goes in, gets verified, and then they are able to make a reservation and comes directly to me that this day, this person made a reservation.
And are you able to review both the renter as well as the property?
Correct. Yes. There is a site there where it says that the person that booked, I can click it and see how many stays they had or before, or this is the first time. So basically to get to know a little bit the person that is going to stay in my house.
And they're also able to leave you a review of the property.
Yes. After the stay of each customer, both sides have the same option that I can review their stay and they also review the property.
Did you end up renting the property on the night of July 21st, 2023?
Yes.
And did it get booked that morning at approximately 7:32 a.m.?
Yes.
And the person that rented it was the name of Tyler Gamble?
Correct.
And the information that you received on Mr. Gamble, what did it include at that point?
At that point was saying that the guest was verified by Airbnb, and then that they had, he had like 5 different stays before with good comments. So for me was okay to rent.
And were you communicating back and forth with this individual?
That moment, no. I received the reservation. That's the process. I received the reservation. In that specific case, the house was ready early in the morning because it didn't rent from the night before. So when I got the reservation, I sent a text through the app saying that the house was ready, that they can check in at any time, and providing the rules, the codes, and everything to access the property.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that I'm now showing opposing counsel as previously marked for identification purposes as 33, 33A, and 32. Aaron, may I approach the witness?
Met.
May the record reflect that I am now approaching the witness of states 33, 33A, and 32. Mr. Hernandez, I'm going to show you these 3 different papers, okay?
Mhm.
Do you recognize what is states 32? It's composite, meaning there's multiple pages.
Yes.
And what is 32?
This is the conversation that we had with Tyler through the app of Airbnb.
And it is a fair and accurate depiction of your entire conversations with Tyler through the Airbnb.
Here I gave him the code, the house rules, my contact info if they need me for any emergency. Yes, it is. Mhm.
And do you recognize states 33 and 33A as well?
Yes. Yes.
Are they fair and accurate depictions of the front and the back of your residence that you use as an Airbnb?
Yes.
You recognize these as the way they looked on or about July 20th, July 2023?
Correct.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves as evidence, states exhibit 33, 33A, and 32, composite.
Any objections?
No objections.
All right, they're admitted.
Your Honor, permission to publish 32, it's a composite.
You may.
Okay, so this is through the app, is that correct?
Correct.
And so it says the perfect getaway from the,
City stress.
and it says July 21st through 22nd, 2023. That's the night that the property was rented.
That is correct.
What is this 244.88?
That was the total of how much I was going to get paid for that night.
And we see a photograph, kind of a profile as well as a name. Is this the renter?
Yes. That's where if you click where it says Tyler, it should open the profile and you can see what I mentioned before.
And then we see a message from Tyler at 7:32 a.m. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And what does it say?
Hi, I'm visiting family and just looking for a nice, relaxing place to stay while I travel. It just be me.
And it says request received, request accepted. What do those mean?
That means that there is 2 options on the app that I need to first see the reservation in order to approve it, or they just booked instantly and then I just get the reservation. So in this case, it was the request, send it, I revise it, and then I accept it. That's why it kept the record there.
And you responded pretty quickly at 7:34 saying, "Good morning, Tyler. It'd be a pleasure to host you."
Correct.
So it's instantaneous to your phone.
Yes, it comes to my phone.
And this page, it's at 7:37 a.m. This is giving the address as well as the code.
Correct.
And the house is ready now. You can check it at any time.
Correct. Normally check-in time is at 4, but as I mentioned before, that day it was not rented the previous night, so that's what I allowed them to go in earlier.
And this property actually advises that this is a gate that you're supposed to close, correct?
Correct.
And then you said house rules
Mm-hmm.
and your phone number.
Correct.
And I'm going to turn to the very last page of states 32. What is this page?
That is his profile, the one that I mentioned before.
Okay, so this is a picture of this individual named Tyler.
Correct.
Okay. And it'll say kind of like, hey, prior host, this is what they say.
Correct.
Now I'm going to direct your attention to the middle of page 32, states 32, which is going to be page 4, 5, and 6. It looks like there's some more conversation going on at this point. So
Yes.
what does Tyler say to you? It says, okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I will go ahead and head over soon.
That was probably after the text that I sent it with the code. Yeah. So he just said that. It was 7:54 in the morning. Yes.
Okay, and he put okay as in okay. Is that accurate?
Yes, he put it like that. Mhm.
And then it looks like there's another message the next day on July 22nd.
Correct.
And what does this message say?
It is saying, good morning. Thank you so much for a great stay. I just wanted you to know I am going to get some breakfast and come back and go for a run before going home. The forests are so beautiful and the countryside is so relaxing. I will be checking out by 10 or 10:30. Thank you again.
And then you just responded in kind.
Yes.
And then it looks like he messages you a little bit later as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that is at approximately 8:07 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And what does he say?
It's saying, thank you. I'm heading now to run. Now, yay. I will message you when I leave. And your home is very beautiful. By the way, 5 stars from me.
And that's 5 stars referring to a review.
Yes, yes,
And then he messages you again approximately 2 hours later at 10:22. Is that accurate?
correct.
And what does he say then?
It's saying, I am leaving, thanks again. I wanted to swap, but could not find the room. I had a great time. I'll be back to see my brother next month. Could I reserve this place for a week and bringing him and his wife? They will love it.
And then you responded back.
Saying, thank you, Tyler. Don't worry, we will clean it out. You don't have to swap it. You definitely can reserve it for a week. Just let me know the day. So as you know, I can give you a discount for a week. You can do it through Airbnb or directly. That's the best you want.
So you have people that sometimes will re-rent the property.
Correct, correct.
So it's not unusual for the back and forth.
No,
And this last page, you said about the identity. So this is the identity of the individual Tyler, that he's been an Airbnb member since 2017 and he lives in Fort Myers.
yes, that's the information that I received.
Okay, and identity verified,
That means that Airbnb go through a process to verify that person.
and that's Tyler, correct?
Correct.
And I'm now publishing states 33. What is this a picture of?
This is the front of the house, the mobile home.
And page 33A. And what is that?
That is the back of the house.
Now, were you able to verify when this individual named Tyler checked in?
No.
Did it come to a point where you happened to drive by the home and notice anything?
Well, that morning I went to Miami, and when I came back, my house is just in front of it. So when I drive to my driveway, I noticed that he already checked in. I didn't see him personally, but I noticed because there was some clothes hanging out of the front rails.
Sorry, page
Yes,
33 or
that one.
33?
Uh-huh.
And
On the right side, I noticed some clothes hanging there. So obviously, I knew that he already checked in.
And how did you know he had already checked in based on the clothing being there?
I'm sorry?
How did you know he had already checked in based on the clothing?
Because there was no clothing before then when I left.
Do you know what kind of clothes it was?
I can tell that it was like maybe shorts or a t-shirt, a sport t-shirt, shorts, something like that hanging out there.
And that was approximately 3 to 4 p.m. that day?
Yes, more or less.
Did that seem unusual to you?
Not really. No, not really.
And were you ever able to see any vehicles at the property?
It was a vehicle there, yes. At night, I saw a vehicle there.
And was it a grayish color SUV?
Correct.
And it ended up being a Jeep, I believe?
I don't know the brand, but it was an SUV that I clearly saw it.
And what time is your normal checkout?
Normal checkout is around 11 a.m.
And I see the back and forth, and we've published the back and forth. Did he check out prior to 11?
Around 10:30, he said that he was leaving the property, yes.
Do you usually have that much back and forth conversation with a renter?
No.
Could you please describe what sort of conversations you usually have with a renter?
Normally, I text them early in the morning, remind them that checkout is at 11, just in case they need a little bit more of time or something. And normally the response is, okay, thank you, or no, I need a little bit more of time, or we already left, because some people just leave earlier than I send the text. So it's basic, very limited conversations. So yeah, no.
Could you say it was almost oversharing?
Yes, that I noticed that a little bit.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes, I noticed a little bit of too much explanation of what's going on.
Was the person pretty much giving you a play-by-play of that morning as well as while they were there?
I don't know if that was the intention, but it was unusual for me to see those much details as I'm going to have breakfast or I'm going for a run. So normally guests don't share that type of information.
And you've been doing Airbnb rentals for approximately 4 years?
In that house, yes. Before I used to do it in some other property. So more or less in Airbnb, I have experience like 11 years, more or less.
So this one sticks out because of the information that was received?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Did you ever end up meeting Tyler?
No.
Did you ever see him on his run though?
Yes.
Did you actually see Tyler on the run or did you see someone else?
I saw someone else. It was not the same person that I had in the picture.
So this is Tyler per his Airbnb. So that was not the person you saw going on a run?
No.
Do you see the person you saw going on the run in court today?
Yes.
Would you please point to him and identify him by an article of clothing?
Yeah, the gentleman right there.
When you say right there, what color shirt is he wearing?
Blue,
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
Okay.
So that person, Christopher Davis, is not Tyler.
No.
And did you notice anything else about the property or his stay while he was there?
No.
When he checked out, what is your normal procedures for checkout?
Normally, they just leave the key in the same lockbox that I provided the code at check-in. And when they tell me that they're gone or it's 11 and I see that the property is vacant, we go with my mom. We together clean the house and have it ready for the next stay. So that's the regular procedure that we follow.
Did you end up going in to clean the Airbnb
Yes.
with your mom?
Yes.
And can you describe for the jury what you saw inside the Airbnb?
Yes, something, as soon as you walk in from that door to the left side where the 3 windows are, there is a big sofa, 3-seat sofa. The first thing that caught my attention was that the sofa was moved from the wall, away from the wall, and it was a lot of debris and little branches and trees in that side. So that was a little bit strange because it was kind of moved away the sofa and all of that debris there that I know it was not from previous stays because we cleaned the house before. So we know that it was not like that.
And when you say debris, can you kind of describe what it looked like?
Yes, like little leaves and little like branches from the trees.
Is it consistent with some of the vegetation that is out in the Monterey
Yes, yes.
area? And did you notice anything about the area where the couch had been moved?
That was a lot of things there. That the debris was there, but other than that, the sofa just was kind of pushed away from the window, and the debris over there, like I don't know if he put something there or I don't know.
There was any part that looked like there was something heavy, like imprinted somewhere?
No.
How did you end up having to clean that whole area?
Well, I normally take the vacuum and start cleaning it all, but being that it was a lot of debris, I use the vacuum cleaner, but also with the broom, I swap it away. But then my mom called me because she was already in the bathrooms, cleaning the bathrooms, because she noticed a lot of sand inside of the shower from the main room. So she called me and said, something going on here because this is weird. We've been cleaning and we never seen this. So I went there and saw it was a lot. In the bathroom, you have the combination of a shower and a bathtub. And it was a lot of sand in the shower, in the floor, and also at the bathtub. So
now, how would you describe the amount of sand for the jury?
Wow. Very unusual, but a lot. Maybe like when a kid gets a bucket and put it with the sand at the beach, that kind of amount like this, maybe inside of the shower, and like the half of it inside of the tub.
Now, during the 11 years that you've been an Airbnb host, have you ever had this situation where somebody had sand all over?
No.
And is this usual for this particular property to have that much debris and sand on the inside?
No, never.
Even after just one night?
Correct, never.
And have you rented that particular property to families before?
Yes.
And small children before?
Yes.
And you've never had the amount of sand and debris?
No.
Did it come to a point where you had to take garbage out?
Yes, we took some garbage out from the house, and my mom mentioned to me that it was some big boxes on the trash can. We have 2 trash cans outside the house that we normally put all of the trash there and then put it outside when the service comes to pick it up. So she mentioned that it was 2 boxes there. So I went to see it, and it was 2 empty boxes inside of one of the trash cans.
Are these like cardboard boxes?
No, those really big plastics that Home Depot, you can get it from Home Depot, that usually put the Christmas decoration and things like that are really big like this.
And they're black and yellow in color?
Correct. But it was just the box without the lid.
And did you do anything with these particular boxes?
No, we left it there, and on the next day, I believe it was a Tuesday that the service comes, they took it away with the rest of the garbage.
And so at some point, did law enforcement end up contacting you?
Yes.
And were you able to give them the boxes?
No, because the boxes were picked up by the trash service. And when they contacted me, it was like days after they already came. So.
And they weren't able to take any of the debris because that had already been thrown away as well?
Correct.
And did you end up getting a positive review from Mr. Davis on your Airbnb?
I believe from Tyler I got one, yes. I'm not sure.
And the person that you rented the home to was not the person you saw running?
No.
May I have one moment, Your Honor? No further questions.
All right.
Hello.
Right, that account you talked about, did you recognize it said the person had been active for 6 years?
I'm sorry, what?
That the person had been active for 6 years or since 2017?
From the picture of the profile you said?
Yeah, the name Tyler.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the information that was provided to me through the app.
Okay. Did the person ever tell you that it was Tyler's brother staying there?
No.
Okay. But you indicated you saw a person that didn't look like that particular picture,
Correct.
and then you identified this gentleman you saw?
Correct.
Okay. And you saw him when you got the message that the person said they were going to go out on a run? Go out for a run and then leave in a little while?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then after that message, you saw the person coming back, this gentleman coming back to the house?
No, it was not like that. On the first text that was there saying that he was going for a run, that was, I believe, 8 something in the morning. And I was outside of my house when I saw the person coming from, if I'm here in my house, the property, the Airbnb is in front of it. He was coming from this side, running. So I was outside, I saw him, and I said, oh, the renter, because he mentioned that he was gonna be going for a run.
Yeah.
So I saw him, and then he went inside the house. So of course, matched with what he told me he was gonna do.
Okay.
And after that, I received the other text that you just mentioned saying that he said that he was checking out.
And then later I noticed in that profile thing that you got on there and made a comment that Tyler was the perfect guest.
Yeah, because I didn't have any problem with him.
Okay. And aside from the sofa in the bathroom, the rest of the whole place was clean.
Correct.
Okay. And in fact, in the messages, there was talk about that he had tried to look for a broom to sweep some things up for you and couldn't find it. And you said, don't worry about it. And then you saw the debris when you went in.
Correct.
Okay. And when guests check out, do you normally like move the couch and clean that area?
Yes.
Okay.
Every time.
And also in the clothes, was it pretty hot that day? Sorry, let me go. It was July, right?
It was July. I remember how this was.
Okay. And you saw the guy jogging. Okay. And you had mentioned clothes you saw hanging on the railing.
Correct.
It appeared like somebody was trying to dry clothes, maybe.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a dryer inside there?
It is, yes. A washer and dryer.
What day is the trash pickup for?
Every Tuesday and Friday.
Okay. And so do you remember if it was Tuesday or Friday that the pickup was here?
It should be Tuesday because the house was vacant on Saturday. So the next day should be the Tuesday, the following Tuesday.
All right. And you may have heard of this place, but out there in Clewiston, have you ever heard of this Devil's Garden Mud Club out there?
The what, I'm sorry?
Devil's Garden Mud Club?
Yes, I have heard of that place.
Okay. That's a place where people can go and four-wheel and dune buggy like in mud and sand?
Correct.
Okay. And is that close to where you're at?
I don't know exactly the address, but I have heard that it's close, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
No further questions for this witness. We'd ask that she be excused and released.
All right. Any objection?
No, you're.
All right. You may step down and you're released from your subpoena.
Thank you so much.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
All right. You can take the stand. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Could you please state your name
Brenda Villatoro,
and where are you employed?
Vision Ace Hardware in Clewiston.
Sounds silly, but what is Ace Hardware?
Ace Hardware, basically a store where we sell hardware items, tools.
So kind of like anything you'd find like in a workshop almost,
Yes, ma'am.
and more?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it's a national business. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you drive out from Clewiston today?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there multiple Ace Hardwares between Clewiston and here?
We have actually one in LaBelle.
And there's one out in Alva, Buckingham as well?
And that one, I don't think so.
okay,
Not
but
that vision.
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long have you worked at Ace Hardware?
I've been there. I'll be 11 years this month coming up.
And what are your duties there?
I'm actually the store inventory. Managed also the store, and they put me anywhere.
So you kind of fill in with whatever job there is.
Yes, ma'am.
Did it come to a point that you worked as a cashier on July 21st, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you come into contact with someone who later became known to you as Christopher Davis?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see that person in court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please point to him and identify him by an article of clothing? And what is he wearing?
The blue shirt.
You're going to make the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
All right.
You're going to permission to publish States 36A.
You may.
And ma'am, there's a video that we've had you look at, correct, with regards to being at Vision Ace?
Yes, ma'am.
And there's an individual standing here, it looks like in a pink sort of vest.
Mhm.
Who is that person?
Me.
And then the individual standing on the opposite side of the register, who is this person?
That would be him.
Him as in the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember him making a purchase for two different items? And
Yes.
Your Honor, for the record, States Exhibit 37A, which would be a pickaxe as well as a shovel.
Yes, ma'am.
And how did he pay for those items?
I believe with the card.
If you looked at the receipt, it says, does it say card or does it say?
Oh, it's cash.
Okay, so you paid with cash? Okay. And with the pickaxe and the shovel being with inventory, you're very familiar with what those items are?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, with regards to the shovel, is this the shovel that was purchased?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and it's an all steel shovel?
Yes.
Okay, it says maximum strength. Do you sell ones that aren't as strong maybe?
Yeah, we sell different type of ones.
Okay, so is this like the strongest one you can buy?
That would be true. Yes.
Okay. And then you also said that you sold a pickaxe, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And for the record, 36B. And this would be a photocopy of a pickaxe that is sold at your store.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have a chance to remember what this is the exact pickaxe brand and model and everything else?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would show opposing counsel what's been previously marked as States Exhibit 42. Yep. And before you took the stand, did you have an opportunity to look at States Exhibit 42?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is States Exhibit 42?
The axe.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will move into evidence States Exhibit 42.
Objections.
Object to the key custody.
Your Honor, we'll put it through. Yeah, we'll do it later. With regards to the pickaxe, though.
What are you doing?
This is the same pickaxe you saw in the backhoe, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's the same pickaxe that is sold at Ace Hardware and is the Collins pickaxe.
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions for this witness?
All right.
You refer to it as a pickaxe, but it's also, they note Maddox on there. The name Maddox on the receipt.
Mhm.
Is there a difference between some of the pickaxes you have and then this
There's-
Maddox thing?
There is different ones. We do have on that section, I believe the pickaxe, they have, I don't know what they call it, them round big things that you hit.
Hey, you have to speak up a little louder.
I'm sorry, it's them round big things that you hit. I can't remember what they call them. But there are different axes on there too. Small ones, big ones.
Is the difference with this one is it has the flat edge part of it.
Yes, sir.
And then some of the other ones that are
Some of
called
the other ones don't have
pickaxes
it.
just have like a sharp or narrow
Yes, sir.
side to it. Okay. And then this one here, it looks similar to the one you saw in your store. You don't know if it's the same one or not.
I mean, to me, it's the same one.
It's the same make and model.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Had you ever seen that person in your store before?
Just that time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No further questions for this witness, and they should be released and excused.
Any objection? All right. Let me step down and release from your subpoena.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to the map really quick because there is water. It doesn't really look marshy, but then again, it's hard to tell. But so this is the location of the Airbnb. And if you look to the left, right here, this is water. This is water right here. I didn't really see water anywhere else. Yeah, it's really rural, like she said, agricultural. You can see the different lots, but the water isn't very far from where he was staying. But Barry could be anywhere. I mean, there's nothing here. If you go to the other side, nothing. It's just, there's mountains, things like that. And that's why it said with the debris, she didn't know. But if they were able to get some of that sand sample or, the twigs or branches, maybe they could have figured out about where Christopher was. But that is water right there. I don't know. Oh, you were trying to move the map, Green? Did I show you what you were trying to get to? And there is a road. I would assume, oh yeah, Orange Gate Road. So it doesn't appear that no one can't, you can't drive down there. So, I mean, yeah, he could be anywhere. Sad. Very sad.
That the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Take a stand.
Interesting.
You can proceed whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
Would you please introduce yourself to ladies and gentlemen of the jury by telling them your name?
My name is Thomas Wilson.
And sir, where do you reside?
I don't recall.
Okay. And did there come a point in time where he ultimately wound up moving or living in Cape Coral?
He lived in Naples roughly maybe a year and a half and then moved to Cape Coral.
And did you keep in contact with Mr. Schmalbach?
Oh, yes.
How did you keep in contact with him?
2 texts or phone calls, and at one point in time through Facebook.
Now, when you kept in contact with Mr. Schmalbach by a phone call, if he wasn't available, how soon would he be able to respond to you?
Within a half hour or less.
Okay. And now, also, you indicated by text as well?
Yes.
And when you texted with Mr. Schmalbach, how would he respond? Or how
Usually
quickly
right
would he
away.
respond?
It's usually right away.
All right. And that was something that he did fairly regularly?
Yes.
And that was something that you came to know him to be?
Yes.
Now, are you also familiar with a gentleman by the name of Christopher Davis?
Yes.
How did you become familiar with Christopher Davis?
Actually, he was invited to my Cinco de Mayo party.
And
2023.
And was that Cinco de Mayo party at your residence?
Yes.
All right. And at that particular Cinco de Mayo party, did Mr. Davis make contact with Mr. Schmalbach?
Yes.
And how long had Mr. Schmalbach and Mr. Davis stayed at your particular party?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you see them conversing with each other?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see one leave at one time and one leave at another time?
Yes.
Okay. Who left first?
Christopher Davis.
Did there come a point in time after Mr. Davis left that particular party where he inquired of you, Mr. Schmalbach's telephone number?
Not to me.
Okay. Who from?
Do
you recall?
I don't recall whether it was Miguel or Sean.
And as a result of that, was that phone number provided to Mr. Davis?
Yes.
To your knowledge? Now, I'd like to direct your attention specifically to the 21st of July of 2023. Were you in town on that particular day?
I flew in late afternoon.
And how did you get back to your residence?
Miguel Blanco picked me up at the airport.
And did you go straight back to your condo or your residence?
No.
Okay. Where did you go first?
Went to dinner.
Okay. And then what happened after the dinner?
After dinner, we went to do a wellness check on Barry at his residence.
Why would you go ahead and do a wellness check on Mr. Schmalbach?
We had not heard from him and no responses to texts and phone calls.
Okay.
And he had had a heart attack previously, a year prior, And he gave us the key to his condo at that time to do wellness checks. We had not seen or heard from him.
Now, were you and Mr. Blanco the only two friends or close friends that he had here in the area?
Yes.
Do you know of anyone else that he consorted with or was that close to?
He had an uncle that lived here as well.
Okay. And was that uncle here year round?
No.
How would you describe his uncle?
Just as a snowbird. I never met the uncle.
Okay. So he would have been here, say, from what months to?
I would say probably October through April.
Okay. So July, uncle's not present?
No.
Okay. So that leaves just you and Mr. Blanco?
Yes.
And you were aware of the fact that Mr. Schmalbach had a heart condition?
Yes.
And how was Mr. Schmalbach taking care of himself?
Exercise, diet.
Okay. And did he lose a lot of weight as a result of this exercise and diet?
Like the way I like to say it, he lost a person.
Okay, very well. And was he very health conscious, obviously, after
Yes,
this
very much
hospital
so.
visit? All right. No, so after the fact that you had this key to his residence and we're doing a wellness check, please describe for us what exactly you did.
We arrived, parked in the parking lot. I noticed Barry's vehicle was not there.
I'm sorry?
I noticed that Barry's vehicle was not there. Okay. And there were some packages lying around.
What do you mean they were lying around?
Just packages mailed as far as for his business.
Were they inside of his residence, outside of his
Outside.
residence?
One was down on the ground near the mailbox. The other was outside his door.
Okay, is that unusual?
Yes.
Why?
Because he didn't tell us he went anywhere, so obviously they would have been picked up.
Okay. So if Mr. Schmalbach was going somewhere, would he let you know?
Yes.
Once again, why?
Why?
Yes.
To take care of his place. We would get his mail for him to take it inside. Any packages that would be lying about.
Did he regularly tell you where he was going and when he was going,
Yes.
when he was coming back?
Yes.
And that's because he wanted to make sure that you knew his whereabouts?
Taking care of things, but also we're close friends.
As a close friend, did you also share what are called locations on your phones?
Yes.
Okay.
He
And
shared his location with me.
I'm sorry?
He did share his location with me.
So you knew where he was at any given point in time?
Yes.
So when you went to his condo on the 21st of July of 2023, was Mr. Schmalbach present?
No.
And what did you do in response to seeing these packages in mail outside of his residence?
Miguel and I picked up the packages. We went to the door, knocked on the door. There was no response. So I opened the door, looked in. I set the packages on the bar. And then I noticed things were just not right.
What do you mean they weren't right?
Barry liked to sit in the dark, and he was very neat and clean. The place was a mess, and every light in the place was on.
What do you mean the place was a mess?
Disheveled. I mean, things lying around, furniture not where it would normally be, that kind of thing.
Okay. And that would have been odd, given
Very
the
odd.
fact that you knew Mr. Schmalbach the way you did?
Yes,
Did that concern you?
very much so.
Okay. What did you do in response after having seen that?
Looked at Miguel and I said, we need to leave.
Did you?
We left.
Where'd you go?
Home.
Did there come a point in time when you ultimately returned to this particular location?
Actually drove by the next day and the Jeep had returned.
Did you notice anything odd about this Jeep when you returned?
Not at that time.
At what time did you notice something odd about this Jeep?
That was later in the evening when we met the Cape Coral Police Department there.
And would that have been on the next day on the 22nd?
Yes.
Judge, let the record reflect I'm showing defense counsel Tracy Martin, exhibit number 2A. May I approach?
Yeah.
Mr. Wilson, I'm showing you some Tracy Martin, State's exhibit number 2A. Do you recognize that?
Yes, that was Barry's Jeep.
And was that the Jeep in the condition that you last saw it?
Yes.
Judge, State's exhibit number 2A in evidence?
Any objections?
No.
You admitted?
Permission published?
You may.
Mr. Wilson, what's odd about this Jeep?
It was very dirty. And Barry was very clean about everything.
Well, if Mr. Schmalbach had a Jeep that was this dirty, how would he respond to it? Speculation.
Oh, this one if you know. If you know the answer, you can answer.
Okay. He would be highly upset, but it wouldn't be in that condition.
Okay.
To begin with.
Did Did Mr. Schmalbach keep his Jeep in that condition?
Never.
Indicated that he was neat and tidy. Is
What
that
time?
correct? You indicated that Mr. Schmalbach was neat and tidy and meticulous.
Yes, very meticulous.
Did that also pertain to his Jeep?
Yes.
How long would Mr. Schmalbach allow for his Jeep to be in this particular condition?
It wouldn't be in that condition.
What condition would it be in?
Very clean. You wouldn't see dirt on it.
Were you aware of who drove Mr. Schmalbach's Jeep?
No.
And do you know if Mr. Schmalbach was the only person that drove Mr. Schmalbach's Jeep?
Yes. He wouldn't even let me drive it.
You indicated Mr. Schmalbach owned his own business. Is that right?
Yes.
And as part of running his own business, was it important for him also to utilize and remain in contact with customers and clients and colleagues?
Yes, definitely.
And would you have been considered to be a colleague?
Yes. Sometimes I would get samples from work for him.
And when you spent time with Mr. Schmalbach, was he known to always have items of communication with him?
Yes.
What did he have with him?
Typically a watch and a cell phone.
And was he also aware, or did he also carry with him a wallet regularly?
Yes.
Would it be unusual for Mr. Schmalbach to leave a iPhone or his iWatch or Apple Watch behind?
Highly unusual.
Why is that?
That's his major mode of communication, especially with his business.
What about his laptop?
That I would not be sure of.
So, do you recall the last time that you saw or heard from Mr. Schmalbach?
The last time I saw him was on July the 9th.
Okay.
And that was at Cruisers.
And when you attempted to locate Mr. Schmalbach by your phone, you indicated that you shared locations of Mr. Schmalbach.
Yes.
Where was the last location that you were able to determine his whereabouts?
At his condo.
Okay. And when was that?
That was even after the 21st. So I would say maybe up through the 24th.
And that would have been buying through his phone?
Yes.
And so his phone was located somewhere right around his condo?
Yes.
Had you seen or heard from Mr. Schmalbach since July of 2023?
No.
Have you attempted to contact Mr. Schmalbach?
I
That time.
did through sometime in August of 23.
Did or has Mr. Schmalbach responded to you in any way, shape, or form?
No.
Is that unusual?
Highly.
You haven't had any contact with Mr. Schmalbach since July of 2023?
No.
Thank you, Judge. I have no further questions for this
All right.
case.
That's
All right, so do you first know who Christopher Davis is with the Cinco de Mayo party?
Yes.
Okay, and then after the party, you weren't contacted, but either Miguel or Tom or somebody else was contacted?
Miguel and or Sean.
Okay. And I meant not Tom, I meant Jeff. Do you know if they were using some Grinder app to communicate or text each other?
That I have no idea.
All right, and then you're aware, how are you aware when Chris moves in with Barry?
Barry told me.
Okay, just talking to him one day, he let you know?
Just on the phone conversation. And prior to, when he was debating whether or not he was going to move him in.
Okay. All right, and then, so from that time, May up through July 9th, when else did you come to the condo?
To the condo? I don't recall.
Okay, so after Chris moves in with Barry and the two of them are living there, you really don't see how the condo looks during that time?
I don't recall.
Okay. And then to the day you go there with Miguel to do the welfare check, do you remember seeing the cats in there?
Yes.
Okay. Did it appear the cats have been running around tearing things up?
They were small, so I wouldn't think they'd be able to do some of the stuff I saw.
All right. In the litter box, could you smell that?
Yes.
Okay. So as a parent, the smell of the litter?
Well, anyone who has a cat, you would smell a litter box.
Okay. All right, and then the heart attack issue, that's why you got keys from Barry in the first place?
Then to take his mail in when he would go on his trips.
Okay. And the heart issue, that was a big scare for him?
Yes.
Okay, and you kind of changed like his whole lifestyle around?
He changed his diet and exercise.
He was like walking every day? Like
Walked every morning.
A lot of miles? All right. All right, thank you.
Anything else?
Just one quick question, Judge. Mr. Wilson, did Mr. Schwabach tell you that he was going anywhere?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right. You can sit down.
Thank you.
Maybe two.
Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
All right. You can take a seat.
What's your statement?
And whenever you're ready, you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. Would you please introduce yourself to ladies and gentlemen of the jury by telling them your name?
Carlton Hewitt.
And sir, where do you work?
Well, presently I'm working for a hardware store in Cape Coral.
Hardware store. Is that Ace Hardware?
No, sir. I was with Ace Hardware for several years, but I switched over to another one.
I'd like to direct your attention specifically to July 22nd of 2023. Did you have occasion to be at an Ace Hardware in Cape Coral?
Yes, sir. I was working there then.
What did you do for Cape Coral Ace Hardware?
I was with management.
And when you say you're with management, what do you mean?
I was a manager, a floor manager.
Okay. And what were you doing on that particular day?
I was in the office. I don't recall exactly what I was working on, but I was in my office.
And did you have occasion to watch some surveillance video?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you were watching the surveillance video, was there anything that gave you any pause for concern?
Well, it looked like somebody was throwing something into our dumpster, which was a problem we were dealing with because we were getting a lot of people that were using our dumpster for their private use. So when I saw it, it brought it to my attention.
And what did you do when that was brought to your attention, sir?
I went out the back door, which was directly right next to the dumpsters, and told the gentleman that was throwing, it looked like throwing some tools into the dumpster, told him he couldn't do that and to stop.
Okay. Was one of those tools a pickaxe and a shovel
Yes, sir.
that he was attempting to put in the dumpster?
Yes, sir.
And because you're a hardware store, is that something that would typically be found in your dumpster or disposed of in your dumpster?
Well, my presumption was that it was somehow broken and he was just discarding it.
And one's not allowed to do that in your dumpsters?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, you indicated that you had an opportunity there was a video that you were able to observe and watch this entire action?
Yes, sir.
Judge, let the record reflect, I'm showing defense counsel some previously marked as states exhibit number 41.
All right.
May I approach?
You may.
Mr. Hewitt, I'm showing you was previously marked as states exhibit number 41. Do you recognize that particular disc?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize that?
I viewed it in your office.
And did you initial that?
Yes, I did.
And did you also date it?
Yes, I did.
And is that a video of the entire interaction that you had with the individual regarding the shovel and the pickaxe on the 22nd of July of 2023?
That's correct, sir.
Is there any alterations, deletions, or amendments to that particular video?
No, sir.
That fairly accurately depicts your interaction with that person.
That's correct.
Judge, take move 41 in evidence at this
Any
time.
objection? You admit it?
Permission to publish, Judge?
You may. Do you need a light stand?
I do not, Judge. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Hewitt, I'd like to direct your attention specifically to the screen to your right.
Mhm.
Okay, let the record reflect. I'm pausing it there at 52 seconds on the video screen. Mr. Hewitt, the individual that just walked out of that building with the blue polo shirt, is that you?
That's correct.
And is that the point in time in which you exited the building to confront the individual who's dumping the items there in the dumpster behind?
That's correct.
Where in relationship to your building is that dumpster?
That's probably about 30 feet from the building.
Where were you at the time that you began watching this video and saw this particular SUV pull up? When did you start watching that? Where were you at the time?
My office is just inside that door, approximately 20 feet inside the door. And the monitors are right directly across from my office.
So when you saw this particular SUV pull up, did you immediately get up and go outside, or did you watch to see what he was doing first?
No, I did watch it for a moment to see what he was up to. I didn't know who it was that pulled in with the SUV.
And is it fairly commonplace to see cars like that pull up behind your building?
Yes, because a lot of people will come in to get cardboard boxes that have been discarded, which we have no problem with them doing that. Those dumpsters are recycled dumpsters, and they have cardboard boxes primarily in them.
Okay. So tools like, say, shovels and pickaxes don't belong in there.
That did not. So that brought it to my attention.
And what are you doing here?
That was, I think I was having him take the stuff back out that was in the dumpster, if I recall. Because there was a shovel, a red-handled shovel, I think that he had not yet discarded, and a yellow-handled pickaxe.
Then you just left him to go back into his SUV and you went back into the building?
Correct.
Now that pickaxe that was left there by the dumpster, that was ultimately collected and placed in your office, was it not?
That's correct, but it was after I had already left for the day.
And you had seen that particular pickaxe when it was laying there against the dumpster, correct?
No, sir. I thought he had placed it back in his vehicle when I turned away from him and walked away. I didn't know it had been left behind.
And when you came in the next day, you did know that there was a pickaxe that was located in your office?
That's correct.
And that was similar to the one that he was trying to discard?
Also correct, sir.
Now, sir, I'm going to show you what's previously marked as Exhibit 42. Do you recognize this item right here, sir?
It looks exactly like the same thing that he was holding.
And would that have been similar to the actual pickaxe that was inside your office?
That's correct.
I have no further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right.
Afternoon. All right. So when you're first coming out of there, you see on the video, it looks like there's a dumpster to your left. Is that like a trash dumpster?
That's the trash dumpster, yes, sir.
Okay. And so then the one that person was trying to put things into is a cardboard dumpster.
That's correct.
Okay. And so number one, you don't want people using your dumpsters, but number two, throwing things in the cardboard recycle dumpster.
Well, we can get in trouble with the waste company if we do put garbage in on the cardboard.
Because they come to collect it and then there's metal or whatever in there. All right. And you indicated you thought the person had taken the items back as you were walking in, and
That's correct.
then were you surprised to see this item the next day in your office, wondering what is this, where'd this come from?
I did ask. I asked, I don't recall who, but I did ask you, what is this doing here? And they said it was left behind. And that was the end of my connection with it.
Some guy, Dante Anderson, that worked there?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I have nothing for this witness, Judge. Thank you.
All right, you can sit down, sir.
Good afternoon.
So what was the next day of your investigation?
Would have been July 22nd.
And what, if anything, did you learn that Mr. Davis did on July 22nd?
That he was at the Airbnb and then he had come back into town.
And did you end up collecting what is known as the LPR photographs?
Yes.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witness that I am showing opposing counsel was previously marked to state proposed exhibit 14D and E. May I approach?
May.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that I'm showing the witness was previously marked as 14D and E. you recognize these?
Yes,
Are they fair and accurate depictions of the the license plate reader on or about the 22nd of July, 2023?
yes,
And they're a photograph of the victim's Jeep coming back from Clewiston into Lee County.
correct.
Your Honor, this time the statements and evidence states Exhibit 14B and 14E.
Is it D and E?
D and E, yes.
All right, any objection? All right, third minute.
With regards to the license plate reader for the Jeep, did you notice anything about the Jeep at this time?
It was dirty.
And I am going to publish 14D. So we've got the same situation as last time where we have the vehicle, as well as we have the date, the 7/22. And what time is this?
That is 10:43 a.m.
And where is State Road 80 and CR 833?
I believe that's Henry County because that's a Flock hit, which is they use a different brand out there. I believe it's Flock and Vigilant here in the county.
Okay. And based on your investigation, you were able to ascertain that he had left the Airbnb and was driving back into Lee County?
Yes.
And what do you notice about the vehicle at this point?
Up on the passenger side, up around the driver's side door, appears to be some dirt there and some dirt on the back end.
And that's different than what it looked like before going out to Monterey.
Correct.
And now I'm publishing 14E. And this is a different view as well.
Yes.
And it still shows the same dirt.
Yes.
And what else do you learn at that point that happened on the 22nd?
There's contact between Miguel Blanco and Chris. Go ahead.
And does it come to your attention that there was some sort of information about the Italian dinner that Barry had had?
Yes.
And Cape Coral actually ended up responding to a missing persons report, which ended up getting you involved. Is that accurate?
Eventually, yes.
And during that missing persons report, you were able to review the body worn cam of the officer that made contact with Christopher.
Yes.
And you were able to make it known that there was supposedly a text message that was on Barry's iPhone.
Yes.
Correct? Were you able to look into that text message?
Yes.
And with regards to that text message, when you requested the victim's records for the back and forth with text messages, was the particular text message an incoming text message to Barry's phone?
Yes.
And the number that was there, were you able to look and to see whose number that was?
Yes.
And whose number was it?
It was, as I recall, it was what we call a non-VoIP number.
What does that mean?
It is a phone number that's assigned by, it's basically an internet phone number. There's no physical activity, no physical address, no subscriber information, anything like that. You can actually get it through the internet.
So during the course of your career at Cape Coral Law Enforcement, did you ever have to deal with VIOPs?
Yes.
And when are VIOP numbers used?
Usually when I'm dealing with them, they're involved with some kind of harassing phone calls. Someone's trying to make contact with someone without letting them know who they are, type thing.
So it's not an assigned number.
Correct.
We hear sometimes about swatting incidents or spoofing incidents. Have you heard of those before?
Yes.
And what are those?
Basically the same kind of thing, but those involve getting law enforcement involved as far as swatting and stuff. It's calling in a threat at an address, and it comes from a number basically through the internet.
And it's a VIOP number usually that's
Yes.
used? So would you characterize a VIOP number as a phone number that somebody is attempting to hide their identification?
It can be, yes.
And this particular message was a message that was received into Barry's watch?
Yes.
And at no point did Barry respond to that message based on the records?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And at no point after July 19th at approximately 8:30, was there any sort of communication from Barry's phone out?
No.
It was only incoming.
Correct.
Now, did you get a chance to also make it aware that not only did the defendant make a missing persons report, but Miguel did as well?
Yes.
And prior to the defendant making a missing persons report that day and Officer Daniel Lilly showing up to take said report, were you able to find out what the defendant did?
He had stopped, based on our investigation, he had stopped at the hardware store in Cape Coral.
And we say you stopped at the hardware store in Cape Coral. What do you mean by that?
Ace Hardware off of Cape Coral Parkway, about the 1000 block.
And were you able to see an incoming text message, or excuse me, incoming phone call or text chain with Miguel Blanco and the defendant on or about July 22nd, 2023?
Yes.
And did that happen before the defendant went to the Ace Hardware?
Before.
Okay. And during that conversation, it was a conversation between Miguel and Chris, and Miguel later the Emerson's first things report.
Correct.
And what did you, if anything, did you see with regards to the Ace Hardware?
A male driving up in Mr. Schmalbach's vehicle, getting out and trying to get rid of items.
And when you
In
say
the dumpster.
items, what do you mean?
Tools, looked like shovels, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Similar to the shovel and the pickaxe that you took a photograph of from the Ace in Clewiston?
Correct.
And approximately what was the time range between the Ace in Clewiston and the dumping of the items in Cape Coral?
That would have been 25, 26, 27 hours, somewhere
So
there.
a day?
Yeah.
And after the video at Ace Hardware shows him trying to get rid of items, that's when the defendant made the missing persons report. It was afterwards.
Yes.
And based on the defendant's records, were you able to find out that he did in fact call to do a missing persons report?
He called in a call. I don't believe there was an actual missing persons report taken until later that evening.
And with regards to the call, do you remember what type of number he called? Was it 911?
No, he called a non-emergency number.
Is there a difference between a 911 call and a non-emergency number?
911 call gets you directly to an emergency dispatcher. A non-emergency number, they take you as you come in an order.
Do you usually get missing persons reports through 911?
It would depend.
And was there an actual recording of the non-emergency call that the defendant made that day?
All our incoming calls are recorded.
Do you remember what the time difference is from when the defendant is disposing of the shovel and the pickaxe to when he contacts the non-emergency number?
I'd have to verify, but I think it was a little over an hour.
And once the phone call is made to the Cape Coral Police Department non-emergency number, an officer arrives to speak with the defendant?
Yeah.
And is this conversation recorded?
The conversation between
the officer and the defendant?
Yes,
And that's recorded on what is known as a BWC?
correct.
What is a BWC?
It's a body worn camera.
Is that something that all of the patrol deputies are assigned?
Correct, yes.
Now, were you assigned one that you used to have to wear as a detective?
As a detective, no.
So,
I had one if I was working details off duty details in uniform.
so it's predominantly only for patrol deputies?
Correct.
So-
SROs, anyone in uniform.
There's not
Traffic.
a body worn cam that was attached to you during the course of your investigation unless there was a uniformed officer?
No.
And did you end up finding out later that day if Chris did anything else, such as reviewing different websites or alternatively the Airbnb?
I believe there was some back and forth between the Airbnb as far as a review. And just checking websites. I'd have to go back and look and see all of the confirmation of which ones were actually there.
And did you end up talking to neighbors as well that spoke to Christopher that evening?
Yes,
And I know that on day one, we discussed the cell phone records of the defendant calling Barry. Did he call Barry before he reported him missing?
yes,
And he approximately called him 18, 19 times between the night of the 19th the morning of the 20th until the 22nd?
yes.
And can you explain for the jury how those calls show up on his phone?
They actually show up just like that first day that we did it. They come into the phone number or the watch, then the watch transfers them to the phone, and then they're call forward, not answered. None of them are answered.
So the best way to say it would be watch, phone, call forward, phone.
Correct,
So the watch and the phone are pinging off of each other and nobody answers it.
correct.
And this happens over and over again.
It slows up as the days go on.
Now we say it slows up as the days go on. After he's reported Barry missing, does he continue calling the phone number?
Doesn't call it again.
Does he ever text it?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So at no point after he's reported him missing, are there any communications between the defendant and Barry's phone?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
No phone calls out?
No.
No text messages out?
No.
And are you aware if Cape Coral was able to recover a pickaxe from Ace Hardware and Cape Coral?
Yes,
And that pickaxe was collected by Cape Coral and was brought to court today?
yes,
You had an opportunity to review what has been previously identified as State's Exhibit 42.
yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will move the evidence State's Exhibit 42.
Right, any objection?
Judge, I object in that the last witness had indicated he didn't even know it was left there. And the next day, just some item that shows up in his office. And then some
All right, well,
employee
okay,
tells-
approach.
Detective Bierman, is this the pickaxe that was recovered from the Ace Hardware and Cape Coral?
Yes,
And this is the same pickaxe that was bought at Ace Hardware in Clewiston within 24
Perhaps
hours.
it's beyond the scope of his knowledge.
Oh,
yes,
Your Honor, permission to publish, I won't hand it to the
You
jury,
may,
but if that's
yeah.
okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor, may I approach the clerk?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. You may proceed.
Sir, the one license plate reader photo, you noticed the Jeep, I guess, had some dirt near the front wheels.
Yes,
All right. And in your investigation, did you ever learn if the Jeep or the defendant had gone to a place in Clewiston for 4x4 and off-roading called Devil's Garden Mud Club?
I did not.
Okay. And through your investigation of Mr. Smallback, did you ever learn anything about some scam he had been involved with a Grinder app and some other gentleman getting money from him?
I don't know if it was through a Grinder app. I know that there was a police report that had been filed for someone taking money from him from South Carolina.
Okay. And you mentioned the VOIP. Do you know if like a non-VOP number was used in that situation?
I do not know. I don't know if it was or not.
All right. Thank you.
No further questions for this witness. May he be retained?
Yes. All right, sir, you may step down, but you're not released from your seat.
Good afternoon once again, sir.
Good afternoon.
Please state your name for the record.
Miguel Blanco.
Mr. Blanco, I'd like to direct your attention specifically now to the 22nd of July of 2023. From the point in time after you heard the voicemail from Mr. Schmalbach, had you heard anything further from Mr. Schmalbach?
No.
As a result of having heard that voicemail from Mr. Schmalbach seeking your help in getting rid of Mr. Davis, what did you do in response to that?
Could you repeat it? Sorry.
Yeah, after you received that voicemail from Mr. Schmalbach seeking your help to get rid of Mr. Davis, did you ultimately try to reach out to Mr. Schmalbach?
I called him and I texted him, but didn't get a reply.
And how many times would you say you did that?
No, probably 4 or 5 times, and text him. I sent the last messages were 6 messages I sent.
Did he respond to any of those calls?
No.
Did he respond to any of those texts?
No.
Was that unusual?
Yes.
Why?
Because he always replied to me right away.
So we learned that on the 21st of July, you and Mr. Wilson had gone to Mr. Schmalbach's residence. Is that right?
Yes.
And as a result of having gone to that particular residence, did you ultimately follow up with Mr. Davis on the 22nd of July of 2023?
Yes.
And how did you go about doing that?
I texted him.
And when you reached out to Mr. Davis, did he indicate to you where Mr. Schmalbach was?
He said he thought he was with me and Tom because they had gotten in an argument and he left and said he was going to be with friends.
And did that sound unusual to you?
Yes.
What did you do in response?
I told him that he had to contact the police because that was unusual and I hadn't heard from him.
And did these text messages take place later on that morning?
Yes.
Okay. So right around 11 o'clock or so?
Yes.
So did you ultimately wind up contacting law enforcement?
Yes.
And when was that?
That same day, that afternoon, and then 2 officers met me at the condo.
You actually went over to the condo that evening?
Yes.
And when you were at the condo that evening, did you notice anything unusual outside?
Yes, the Jeep had mud on it.
And was that unusual to you?
Yes.
Why?
Because he always kept the Jeep clean.
And was it ultimately brought to your attention whether or not the Jeep was locked or not? If you remember.
I don't remember.
Would you have been shocked if you saw that the Jeep was in fact unlocked?
Yes.
Irrelevant.
Ooh.
Were you aware if anyone else was ever allowed to drive that vehicle besides Mr. Schmalbach?
No.
And as a result of not having heard from Mr. Schmalbach, did you ultimately go ahead and file a missing persons report
Yes, sir.
regarding your friend, Mr. Schmalbach?
Yes, sir.
Since July of 2023, have you seen Mr. Schmalbach?
No, sir.
Since July of 2023, have you heard from Mr. Schmalbach?
No, sir.
Have you spoken to Mr. Schmalbach since July of 2023?
No, sir.
Have you had any contact whatsoever with Mr. Schmalbach
No,
since
sir.
July of 2023?
No, sir.
Is that unusual?
Yes.
Why?
Because he usually replies right away if we contact him.
I have nothing for this witness. No questions.
All right, sir, you can step down.
Thank you.
You may be released, Judge.
And any objection to him being released from his subpoena?
No.
Sir, you release from your subpoena as well. Raise your right hand, she'll swear you in.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
All right, you can take the seat. All right, you may proceed.
Thank you. Would you please state your name
Samantha Drake.
and how are you employed?
I'm employed with the Cape Coral Police Department as a telecommunicator dispatcher.
What is an intel communicator or dispatcher?
A telecommunicator is a dispatcher or a call taker. So we take incoming calls, dispatch calls.
Did that include emergency calls as well as non-emergency calls?
Correct.
And how long have you been a dispatcher for?
In total, about 11 years.
And are you aware of the system that Cape Coral Police Department uses to record either 911 calls or non-emergency phone calls?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with that system?
I've been working with it for 11 years.
So you received training on how to use it as well as the fact that all calls are recorded.
Correct.
And were you working in your official capacity on or about July 22nd, 2023 at 1:19 p.m.?
Yes.
And what is the difference between a 911 line and a non-emergency line?
911, you just call directly to 911. You get a 911 dispatcher. Admin line is typically for non-emergency calls.
And did you receive a non-emergency call from later somebody became known to you as Christopher Davis at 1835 Beach Parkway?
Yes.
And when you received that call, what, if anything, did you do?
I started entering a call, asking questions, just going through typical day-to-day things.
In that particular call, the individual was addressing the fact that his boyfriend had not been heard from.
Correct.
And was this entire call recorded?
Yes.
And was a unit dispatched to the location of the call?
Yes.
And were you able to see the actual dispatch notes with where the person went?
Yes, to the address.
And the person that ended up going to the address, was that Officer Daniel Lilly?
I believe so, yes.
And what information is relayed to the officers based on that call?
So usually we put in any pertinent information, so anything that's discussed in the call that we feel that they might need.
Being a dispatcher for the last 11 years, have you taken missing persons reports before?
Yes.
If you could gauge, how many do you think you've taken?
I would have to say over 100. I mean, even more than that. Yeah.
And this particular call, does it stand out at all to you?
Yes.
And why?
Just because of it coming in on a non-emergency line and for the information that was being relayed.
And when you say the information that was being relayed, how would you characterize that information?
It just seemed rather odd.
Okay. Speculation.
Overruled at this point.
Your Honor, may the record reflect I'm now showing opposing counsel was previously marked as State's Exhibit 43 for identification purposes. May I approach the witness?
You may.
May the record reflect that I'm now showing the witness what's been previously marked as State's Proposed Exhibit 43. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And how do you recognize this?
That is the recording of my phone call.
And is this a signature on it?
Yes.
Whose signature is that?
That's my signature.
And there is a date above it, as well as that also the date that you listened to this call?
Yes.
And has this call been altered or changed in any way since you first listened to it when the defendant called the non-emergency?
No.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will move into evidence, State's Exhibit 43.
Just approach, or sorry, object is hearsay.
Your Honor, submission by the opponent.
That falls under the.
I'll let you approach.
Your Honor, at this time, the state admits State's Exhibit 43.
It'll be a minute.
Permission to publish.
You may.
And while my co-counsel cues this up real quick, I'm You said it sounded odd, the conversation that you were given.
Yes.
Was there not enough information given?
No, a lot of the times for a missing person, the person reporting is, pretty concerned with giving description, or it just seemed more so that it was that he was still, doing normal activities and making it seem like he wasn't really missing.
Hi, Samantha. I'm calling. I need to file a police report. I missing persons report.
Okay, are you in Temporal?
Yes. My boyfriend, I haven't heard from him in a few days. He did tell me that he wanted some space and he needed a few days, but his friends haven't heard from him. And I'm concerned. I wasn't trying to be nosy, but he left his Apple Watch here and messages have come in. Apparently, he had an Italian dinner with someone last night.
Okay.
But I need to file a police report. He's not responding. Hello?
I'm here, I had a dispatcher call. So you said that he had messages coming in last night, so he was on his phone?
I don't know. I don't see what he typed. It's an Apple Watch. A message popped in from a 23 number and it said, "How did you feel about that Italian dinner last night? How about Chinese tomorrow?"
Okay. So clearly he's still talking to people, correct?
Yes, but his other friends have not heard from him. His friend McDowell has not heard from him, and I have not heard from him. He did message me and tell me that he wanted space for a few days.
Right.
But he's not responding. I mean, and I don't want to sound stupid because yes, he's done this before, but he's never not talked to his friends,
Okay, but he's still going out and having dinner.
So
So
I guess he's not coming here.
Okay. So what is your address?
1835 Beach Parkway.
1835 Beach Parkway?
Yes, 1835 Beach Parkway, apartment 303.
And what's your name?
My name is Christopher Davis.
And what's your telephone number?
239-851-9567. I already tried calling the Lee County Sheriff's Department and they sent me over here to you. Does this sound like
Okay,
a
give me
stupid?
1 second.
I'm sorry. I really honestly wasn't even worried until his friend messaged me today and his friend was like, "Hey, we haven't heard from Barry in a few days." Sorry, I got a text message from my friend. So we haven't heard from Barry in a few days. And someone came in our house and put packages on the counter. So I think he was here last night because there's packages on the counter. But I don't.
Okay, so I'll have an officer come out and meet with you. It doesn't sound like he's missing if he's still coming and dropping stuff off and having dinners. But what is his name?
Barry Schmalbach.
Can you spell that for me, please?
SCHMALBACH.
And the last name?
Oh, sorry. So the last name is Schmalbach.
Okay, what's his first name?
Barry, Barry.
Okay, do you know his date of birth?
Yes, it is 10/15, the year 66. Yes, I do.
10/15/66?
Yes.
Is he white, black, Hispanic?
He's white. He's 6'4". He's probably 220 pounds.
And his hair color?
White, well, blonde, but he's got the blonde. It's white, really.
Okay, and his eye color?
Blue.
And what's his phone number?
Oh, hang on, I have to look. Sorry, hang on.
Okay, so I have a call in and I'll have the next civil officer come out and meet with you, okay?
All right, thank you so
All
much.
right, you're welcome. Bye.
No further questions.
All right. Vince,
No questions.
all right, you can step down.
Thank you.
Issue released.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No.
All right, you're on the case. I'd ask you again not to.
All right, so we have finished day 2. We have finished day 2. And so when there's so much information to process, but this last part where he called the non-emergency line to report Barry missing, the one thing that I found interesting, as the dispatcher stated, he almost didn't want them looking for Barry, because he said, oh, you know, he got a text message that came into his phone about an Italian dinner. How about Chinese? And so, you know, the dispatcher was like, well, then if he's still doing things, is he really missing? I just found that really weird. Like, why? I don't know. I don't know the why. I'm just thinking aloud. But just bizarre. And he just kept talking, kind of like with the Airbnb. The woman had said he was a little too forthcoming and chatty about what he was doing. Because I think about even, you know, checking into a hotel, you're not going to go to the main desk and say, hey, I'm going to go for a run right now. Or, hey, I'm going to go have dinner. You know, it was just a lot. And the pickaxe, thank goodness he left it behind. Whether it was intentional or not, he did look a little bit agitated when the older man came out to tell him, you know, he couldn't do that. But wow, like this guy, it's not looking good for him, I've got to say. Nanny, he said, so Christopher said the text came through to Barry's watch. So prior, they had the detective, and he was talking about the, what was it, VOP number. So I think it's probably like Google Voice, something like that, where it's like a number that's not traceable because it's online. He had mentioned that number. There was one message that came in from that number. So I think that's the message. So I think Christopher got some number from the internet to send to Barry's phone to make it look like he wasn't missing, that he had dinner with someone the night before, and they wanted to. So now it all makes sense, because Miguel also mentioned the Italian dinner. So I feel like I need to like rewatch. Like, I feel like I should have taken better notes, because now everything is starting to come together, which it should. This just so bizarre. And then he's like, with the packages, well, he must be, that's the other thing. Oh, he must be around because there were packages on the counter. But he left his Apple Watch behind. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think it was Nanny that said earlier, like, he's not very smart. I feel like either he was just oblivious to the fact that he was being tracked without him knowing he was being tracked, or he just thought he was being smart. I don't know. And I feel like, I hope one day they do find Barry, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they will or not. And I really wish that Team Brit was here today, because she had mentioned, you know, the river being right near the first Airbnb that Christopher had stayed at, and then the ocean on the other side. But now we know he actually went more inland, rural, where, and I don't think he did anything near the Airbnb. I think he drove somewhere because they said it was mud, which kind of goes with what Summer was saying, that maybe it was, you know, marshy or wet. So I know, Nanny, and I really want to know about the watch. I hope that they were able to get some type of data from the watch, because I know, like with, you know, my Fitbit, it kind of has, you know, like my pulse rate, it then averages it. My sleep patterns averages it. So it's kind of like consistent with me. But then if I were to maybe have my sister wear it for a week, those numbers are going to change. So I just want to know, is there anything on the Apple Watch that shows when those data points changed? Or was there a place where they were able to determine exactly when Barry died? Because we all know at this point that he died on the 19th because, one, the woman said she heard whimpering. Two, the other neighbor said he saw Christopher dragging something. He could hear the plastic, which had to be pretty damn loud to hear it inside your apartment. So we know Barry died that day. And we know that Christopher was driving around with him in the car for at least 2 days. Because what day did I say he went to the Airbnb? The 21st. So, well, like a day and a half. And that explains the air freshener, most likely. And so then when he returns, he had, you know, it's too bad that the car didn't have like a GPS tracking system, or, you know, his friends didn't have a Life 360 with him. Because, well, the Life 360 is on his phone, and they said his phone never left the condo. It's just really sad all around. It's really sad. So tomorrow, because I know, you know, I want to go live when y'all are going to be able to. So I'm off all day, but does the 4:30 time work the best, or does earlier work? Because I would like to get through, let me see. So day 3 is in 2 parts. The first part is about 30 minutes. And then let me look at part 2. Part 2 is pretty long. We might not get through this whole case until Monday. Because like I said, like I'm already getting restless. It's been a little, it's what, almost 3 hours? Yeah, I was starting to get restless just, you know, after when we got closer to 2.5 hours. 4:30 works. All right, so let's do 4:30, and we'll try to get through. Let's see. Let me just scroll through. Oh, there's a lot more body cam and video. They have so much video. Let's see. So halfway would be like 4. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll do part 1, and then we'll do part 2 up until they go to lunch, which is about 2.5 hours. So that would be our 3 hours again. So we'll do 4:30 tomorrow. We'll do part 1, half of part 2. And then on Saturday, I have a live scheduled, but I want to finish this before I do that live. So I'm probably going to push that live to a different day. But we'll figure it out. So yeah, we will be back tomorrow at 4:30. Oh, 4:30, good legally on. Okay. Or 3:30, right. So 3:30 Central or 4:30 Eastern. All right. And if that works, then that's what we'll do, because, you know, there's not a lot of us here, but I'd rather make a time that works for, hey, SG, what's going on? 4:30 to 6 is cooking, eating, and cleaning up. So that's a good time or a bad time? And thanks for being here. Were you in the bushes the whole time? Or did I miss you at the beginning? And then Saturday, I don't know what time I'm getting the kittens, probably early. So let's say 4:30. Let's say 4:30 on Saturday too, if that works for everybody. But I won't schedule that until tomorrow. Oh, bad time is 4:30. I see what you're saying. Okay. But we'll do you always have the replay, SG2. So we'll aim for 4:30 tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. I am not going to do an outro because this has already been almost 3 hours. So thank you everyone for being here. I do appreciate all of you. If you have watched all of this through #replay, and if I don't see you all on these YouTube streets, I will see you on the flip side.